46%. Chapter 261 Arrangement and Farewell. In the past few years, Zhuang has been involved in family management for many times in the Hua family. They are much more mature than before. After eating an exotic lunch in the Ujumqin tribe, they waited quietly for Hua K's back. Except for Zhuang, the other Hua family members have not seen the owner of the family for more than 4 years. I remembered that he was a teenager when I saw Hua Kai last time. He was the backbone of the family. Now the Hua family is more and more prosperous. Both have married and have children, and their status has changed drastically compared to 4 years ago. All this was given to them by the calm young man in his mind. In the past 4 years, the patriarch has become an adult, but I don't know what he is now. Huakai and Yurantuya lived in a 2-person world in Shuangsheng Lake. The two of them picked shells in the lake and ate barbecue by the lake. Yurantuya did not want to be separated from Huakai for a moment. The feeling of a man and woman in love. Everything is good for the other party, full of attraction. Seeing that it was getting late, both of them knew that it was time to go back. Huakai left a bunch of spices for Yurantuya, and Yurantuya liked these very much. I have identified the use of these medicine pills. There are special medicine pills such as healing, detoxification, and coagulation of true qi. You can take the Shenglong pill in it, and 2 Xuanbing pills if you want to take it. You must be next to your mother's queen. This is the danger of taking the pill at the level of Shantian. This will give you the redwood pear flower gun and flying feather bow. Both of the 6th rank weapons are most suitable for you. You can use them. There was no problem before the foundation building. Medicine pill is packed in more than 40 large and small pill boxes, with a total of more than 300. As Yurantuya ages, her talents will show up little by little. With her ascension in the tribe, she will definitely get some people's refuge. These medicine pills can be rewarded to those around her even if she doesn't use them. The relationship between the two is determined, and the future development hub of the relationship between the Hua family and the Ujumqin tribe is Yurantuya. This bracelet was given to me by an old priest in the temple when I was born, and I have been wearing it all the time. Yurantuya took a beast bone bracelet from her hand and put it on Hua Kai's wrist. From now on, when you miss me, look at it. It can bring you good luck. In a day's time, the two people's hearts have been tied together, and Yurantuya is no longer sad because of tomorrow's separation. The two agreed to meet again in 2 years. Hua Kai looked at this unique bracelet. It was made of unknown materials and 10 pieces of animal bones. Hua Kai carried it easily in his hand. Animal bone bracelet. Low-level Lingbao. Increase the ability to communicate with heaven and earth, reduce damage from mental energy attacks by 50%, and suppress air transport. There is a very small probability that you can get luck and get the blessing of heaven and earth. Huakai is no longer unfamiliar with Lingbao Huakai. Since Dragon Carp Inkstone recognizes Shui Chen as the mainstay, Huakai feels that his family's vitality value has increased in the daily ascension rate. Although this rate is not large, it has accumulated thousands of points every year. It seems that the suppression of Qi luck means to increase the speed of recovery when the family's Qi luck value is too low, which is very important to the Hua family. Your bracelet is precious, so keep it for yourself. I don't. Xiaoyun is the first gift you gave me. You must bring this bracelet with you, and you can never take it off. I have Xiaoyun and the cultivation speed is very fast now. Yurantuya holding Hua Kai's hand to prevent him from removing the beast bone bracelet. Hua Kai nodded when she saw this. Yurantuya smiled and picked up all the medicine boxes, wrapped them in white cloth and placed them on Xiaoyun's back. On the way home, Yurantuya had to ride with Huakai. Xiaoyun followed them with a medicine pill box. The longer she gets along with people Xiaoyun, the smarter she will become. It is now gradually adapt to getting along with humans. When it was dark in the Ujumqin tribe, Hua Kai walked into the tribe and saw a newly raised tent in the distance. Seeing the location was not very far from Wangjiang, he knew that the two Zhuangs had arrived. At this time, the Hua Jia Ding who was in charge of waiting for Hua Kai also saw Hua Kai coming back, and he yelled at the other Jia Ding while walking towards Hua Kai excitedly. Patriarch, you are finally back. This Ding Yumo is less than 30 years old. It seems that he should be a slave he bought home from the Huns. Now he is dressed in light armor and looks like an elite soldier. Just before Hua Kai saw this place, Yurantuya heard that this was the family member of the Hua family, and took Hua Kai to look at him fixedly. She was very curious about the family member of the Central Plains family. At this time, Zhuang brought a group of Chinese family members out of the tent and saw a strange smile on Yurantuya's face. Patriarch, who is this? Although it was dark, Wang could also see Warentuya's face. It was a kind of refined, just like the beauty of celestial immortals that was not inhumane. Huakai was also happy to be able to meet such a girl. Hey, I actually teased me. This is Princess Warentuya. If you have anything to do with Warentuya after I leave tomorrow. Huakai introduced Warentuya to the core members of the family for the first time. This is the second Zhuang. If you have anything to let him pass on to me in the future, I will leave all the trade with the Ujumchin tribe to him. Huakai introduced to Urantuya. Urantuya took Huakai's arm and greeted everyone in the Hua family. Everyone was extremely happy when they saw Urantuya so beautiful and cheerful. When he arrived outside the Hua family tent area, Huakai bid farewell to Urantuya and asked her to return to his tent first. He had something to explain to the family members. Urantuya reluctantly said goodbye to him. The Hua family has 10 tents in this area, which seem to be much taller than the average herder tent, which shows that the Ujumchin tribe treats them as distinguished guests. Patriarch, when we came, we met soldiers from the Ujumukan tribe. Tens of thousands of people were driving to the Ordos tribe with slaves and horses. I also chatted with their leaders for a while. Zhuang said to Huakai. We have now established a trade cooperation relationship with the Ujumchin tribe. This will be our family's most important stronghold in the grassland in the future. You will have 4 main tasks here in the future. Huakai said that the others listened attentively. Therefore, they shoulder an important responsibility for the future development of the family. First, we have completed trade transactions with the Ujumchin tribe. The Ujumchin tribe still has a lot of goods that have not been handed over to us. In addition, yesterday's weapons still owe us 420,000 gold goods. After trading with the major tribes of the Great Moon Kingdom, they will be repaid with elixir, slaves, and horses. Secondly, train more slaves. The Ujumukan tribe army just returned from the north of Qin country last year and acquired tens of thousands of Central Plains slaves. These slaves have not been here for a long time, and their minds have not been completely wiped out. You should spend more time with them. Cultivating communication. They will be your greatest help here. Huakai said here. Everyone nodded. The Central Plains slaves do not need to teach them new languages. As long as they are freed from slavery status, it will be very easy to manage. Third, try to transport more Central Plains slaves to the Ordos tribe. If you stand firm here and train the slaves, you can teach them family mentality and martial skill, and then ride them to Shui Chen. Starting tomorrow, the family will organize personnel to return home from the Ordos tribe before the end of April each year. Fourth, after the slaves and horses are sent to the Ordos tribe, you and Shui Chen Duo will communicate and manage the trade between the Ujumchin tribe and the Ordos tribe. I will write down the specific transactions with the Ujumchin tribe in this book. Go up, and look after you go down. Try to collect more than 5 levels of elixir. I will leave you enough elixir boxes later. There are a lot more elixir resources here than Zongyuan, but preservation is a problem. Huakai told everyone that everyone also exchanged opinions. The more than 20 people who came this time are all important members of the Hua family, and at least they are all at the cultivation base. They want to develop this into a base of the Hua family, but there are many. It's a long way. The place left by the Ujumchin tribe is large enough for us. Tomorrow you will pick a group of slaves. I have already agreed with the Ujumchin Patriarch early on the price and transaction method. The most important thing for you is to take care of the accounts. All the goods handed over by the Ujumchin tribe are well preserved. I will leave you with 1,000 stone grains and a batch of other goods later. After negotiating with the family members, he brought the 2 Zhuangs to his tent and gave him more than 500 medicine pills, mostly some basic fandans, and asked him to give the medicine pill appropriately to reward Ascension everyone for their enthusiasm when cultivating slaves. They stayed. In the Ujumchin tribe, your own cultivation can't be delayed. These 20-odd people are the first batch of A or higher qualification slaves selected by Huakai, and they are all members of the family directory, and Huakai will cultivate the core seeds for the Hua family in the future. After the completion, Huakai left all the supplies to organize and store them in each tent with everyone, and then returned to his tent late at night. Huakai woke up before dawn the next day. He arranged his own things in the tent and put them into his portable space. Today he will leave the Ujumchin tribe. Yesterday, it was clear to Urantuya that the family members were already settled. Thinking of this, he pulled out Black Eagle and took it and walked out of the tribe. After leaving the tribe, there was no guard patrolling. Huakai was surprised to see thousands of soldiers outside the tribe standing still on horseback. My nephew got up so early. This is to leave without saying goodbye. Huakai saw Ujumukan riding a horse in front of the team, looking at him with a smile on his face. Yurantuya riding on Xiaoyun was full of complaints in her eyes. Farewell will only add to the sadness. Excuse me, uncle is waiting here with such a formation. Hua Kai said. You only need to remember your promise. We are waiting for you to marry Yurantuya. Don't break your faith, Chief Ujumukan said solemnly. Huakai was sent off by Chief Ujumukan and Yurantuya for more than an hour. The sky gradually brightened. Huakai bid farewell to Chief Ujumukan. Yurantuya rode Xiaoyun and insisted to send him 100 miles. You go back. This place is far away from the tribe. Hua Kai said to her after seeing Yurantuya sent hundreds of miles away. I don't. Yurantuya's voice began to tremble. Hua Kai dismounted Yurantuya into his arms, reluctantly to separate, like a poor kitten. The separation is for a better meeting. When I come again next time, you will definitely be more beautiful. Waiting here for me to marry you, isn't it? Hua Kai said softly. Yeah, you must come back. I will always wait for you forever. Yurantuya said, looking at Hua Kai's eyes, as if to engrave his face in her mind forever. 46%. Chapter 262 The Ordos Tribe 4 years later. Saying goodbye to Yurantuya, Huakai has been unable to calm down for a long time. After running the horse for more than 3 hours, he felt that Black Eagle was a little tired, so he stopped to add some grass to him, and rested enough to continue on the road. The Ujumchin tribe is more than 6,000 miles away from the Ordos tribe. To return to the Ordos tribe, Huakai must traverse the entire Dayu state, Xiaoyu state, Linhu state and then enter the Zhongnu state. Traveling through more than 20 large tribes all the way, it would take at least more than 2 months if it was a horse-drawn carriage. But if there is no delay on the horse riding, even the steed can be there in 20 days. Huakai rode Black Eagle for more than 10 hours a day, with True Chi blessing Black Eagle. The speed was very fast. They had already traveled 800 miles at noon, but Huakai was not satisfied with this speed. In the past, riding Lu, he could walk 2,000 miles a day without spending True Chi. Although this Black Eagle is close to the existence of Shenju level, it still has a gap compared with Shenju. At noon the sun was hot. Huakai took out a tent from the portable space to let it escape the heat. In the morning, he was in a hurry. Huakai kept inputting True Chi to it. At this time, Black Eagle was too tired. He took out a can of spirit liquid and gave it to Black Eagle. Huakai felt that its breath calmed down. Huakai took out 10 caddies of green fodder and Black Eagle ate it all at once. In the afternoon, he found that Black Eagle the physique has increased a bit. Hua Kai also slowly gained some experience in cultivating BMWs and even horses. He remembered the heavenly horse field in the space. After the family moved to Takayanagi this year, he wanted to build the Hua family's own horse field. When the sun was westward, Hua Kai saw that Black Eagle had completely recovered, and then he continued on his way. On the road, the tribal soldiers saw Hua Kai coming up to stop him, and Hua Kai input True Chi to Black Eagle to accelerate it, and sometimes deliberately cooperate with Black Eagle to show that it was walking in the air. Not daring to chase it anymore, at night, he unexpectedly found the cavalry team from the Ujumchin tribe to the Ordos tribe. Tens of thousands of them drove the slaves and horses forward slowly, and they only walked more than 1,000 miles in half a month. This is the reason why they let the slaves rotate on horseback. Regardless of these, Hua Kai crossed the Ujumchin tribe's cavalry and continued on his way. He waited until the sky was completely dark before he stopped the horse stance, took out the tent and went to rest. There are very few wild beasts on the grassland that can threaten the Shantian realm. Demonic beasts generally have a fixed area of activity. Therefore, Hua Kai is not worried about his own safety. Moreover, as the Yin and Yang family, everyone can feel the danger in advance. After feeding, Hua Kai meditated and rested. There are many beasts on the grassland in the middle of the night, but ordinary demonic beasts can't cause damage to a BMW. Huakai can completely ignore it if there is no wild beast. Black Eagle can solve all the troubles for him. Starting from the Ujumchin tribe on May 14th, it took Huakai only 3 days to cross the 17 tribal territories of 3 countries and enter the Huns at noon. By the afternoon of May 18th, he had already entered the Ordos tribal territory. The closer to the Ordos tribe, Huakai saw more cattle and sheep on the grassland. Many slaves were grazing on the grassland for their masters. Although they were thin and weak, they did not have the feeling that other tribe slaves were about to starve to death. Approaching the Ordos tribe, Huakai saw a group of cavalry coming towards him. Patriarch Hua, you are finally here. Our patriarch has been waiting for you. There are only more than 20 cavalrymen in this team, but looking at the spears in one of them in leather armor, the horses under the crotch are all steeds. From this point, we can see the strength of the Ordos tribe. The lethality of this team is not worse than the general 500-man cavalry team. The leader of the cavalry team was an Aura, and should be a flag owner of the Ordos tribe. Huakai had a little impression of him. Following the cavalry into the Ordos tribe, Huakai felt that the grassland was denser with more livestock than other tribes, which could tell whether a tribe was strong or not. When Patriarch Taifa heard that Huakai had arrived, he came to greet him as soon as possible. Huakai saw Shui Chen and Patriarch Taifa walking towards him, so he went to horse stance. "Brother Huakai, you are finally here," Patriarch Tifa said with expectation and resentment. "Patriarch Tifa, long time no see. I have been studying in the academy for the past few years and can't even return home. The Ordos tribe has a long-lasting friendship with the Hua family. Isn't this me coming again?" Huakai said loudly. Everyone in the Ordos tribe has smiles on their faces when they hear it. They know the reason why the tribe is strong in recent years. It can be said that the foundation of the Ordos tribe's strength is the trade with the Chinese family, and the relationship with the Chinese family. Huakai saw that Patriarch Tifa was still as it was 4 years ago, and there seemed to be no change. His cultivation base is still Shantian Zochin without breakthrough. The 2 tribal flag owners next to him are also Shantian cultivation base. One of them is Huakai, who let him enter the family secret realm space to test the breakthrough, so he was very impressed. One he remembers was also the core of the Ordos tribe training. After embracing Patriarch Tifa, Huakai embraced Prince Chigambara again, and all the banner owners of the Ordos tribe stepped forward to meet him one by one. Huakai could feel that 4 years had passed and everyone respected him more and more. Turning to look at the people of the Hua family, they are led by Shui Chen, a total of more than 100 people. Hearing that the owner of the owner arrived, half of the people of the tribe Hua family came out to greet him, and Huakai saw that Shui Chen had grown to be over 1.8 meters tall. Only a little lower than him, the 17-year-old has a smile on his face, and his deep eyes seem to be full of wisdom. Shui Chen is now a Taoist, Yin and Yang family, more than a dozen students from Confucianism, Mohism, legalism, etc., with a willpower of 54 points and a strength of the 8th level of the pneumatic realm. He was placed in the debate meeting of the Shenyang Academy last year. His strength is not weaker than Qin Zhao. I have seen the Patriarch. Shui Chen saw Huakai saluting him, and he stood out among the crowd dressed up as a scholar. Huakai greeted everyone in the family one by one, and was greeted by everyone into the tribe. Although it was in the afternoon, Patriarch Tifa still lit a bonfire outside the main account and hosted a banquet to receive him. There were a lot of people attending the banquet today. When Huakai saw the Ordos tribe, hundreds of banner owners attended. Most of them were fresh faces, and they should have been newly promoted banner owners in the past 4 years. Haha, brother Huakai, do you see how our tribe has changed compared to 4 years? Patriarch Taifa and Huakai sitting side by side on the top seat said loudly. The members of the tribe have become stronger. The Ordos tribe has developed very rapidly in the past 4 years. I have come all the way from the Great Moon Kingdom, and I only saw such a dense population of livestock in your tribe. Huakai said sincerely. It's not thanks to you. Our tribe cattle and sheep have fully recovered last year. Now they have enough food for 170,000 people in the tribe. Even slaves, we rarely starve to death. Clan Chief Tifa was deliberately talking about 170,000 people. It worsened. Although Huakai knew all this for a long time, he was still shocked. The Ordos tribe now has a population of 170,000. In addition, the population of all women and children in the tribe exceeds 250,000. Then they have been doing slave trade with the big tribe of the Xiongnu nation for several years. Now they have more than 200,000 slaves alone. Population, the Ordos tribe is already the largest tribe in the Huns. Our tribal territory is more than 4 times larger than 4 years ago. There are more than 40 small and medium tribes attached. Our tribe in the southern part of the Huns is now the most powerful. Patriarch Tifa said proudly. Huakai was eating food while chatting with tribal members such as the Tifa Patriarch. They happily introduced Huakai to the changes that have taken place in the tribe in the past 4 years, especially when it comes to the battle with the Huhan tribe. Everyone's faces are shown. Pleasant smile. The year before last, the Huhan tribe saw us getting stronger and stronger, and together with the 4 tribes attacked us. No one of them thought that we would have 3 Shantian realms at that time. I seriously injured one Shantian of the Huhan tribe, and the other took the opportunity to escape. The entire Huhan tribe was defeated, and in the end they could only lead their troops to flee west. Now most of the grass of the Huhan tribe has been occupied by us. In order to calm our anger, the Sizi tribe also ceded large tracts of grassland and sent tens of thousands of slaves. The Patriarch Tifa told Huakai about the tribe. The two sides are the most recommended allies. The Ordos tribe is strong, and it also represents the strength of the Wa family. At the end of the banquet, Wakai walked towards the family residence surrounded by the Wa family, because the Wa family has more and more trade with the Ordos tribe in the past few years, and this year it plans to build a trade transit point here, so the Ordos tribe gives them a place outside the tribe. Divided a large area of grassland. Returning to Huakai's residence, there are a large number of tents here. There are large square tents for storing supplies, and small tents for slaves. The total number of these tents is nearly 10,000. Looking ahead, there is a feeling that this is a Wa family tribe. We have a total of 328 people here, and it has been almost a month since we came here. A total of more than 16,000 slaves, 4,000 horses, 9,000 cattle, and more than 50,000 sheep have been traded from the tribe. Shui Chen, as the person in charge, told Wakai introduced the situation of base construction. All the slaves are divided into teams for every 1,000 people, and 3 people are responsible for training them. Because most of the slaves sent by the Ordos tribe this year are from the Central Plains, it is very easy for us to train. Through experience, they are very obedient as long as they are given a bite. Now we are all grazing slaves in charge. Shui Chen introduced to Wakai. In the future, the Wa family will focus all on the development of Jialiu County, and grassland trade will become more and more important. As long as the Ordos tribe is firmly consolidated, the Linhu, Xiaoyu family, Dayu family, Cheng ethnic group and even the grasslands beyond. Resources can continue to enter our pockets. You can choose some key training among these slaves. We will need to transport a large number of slaves and livestock back to Takayanagi next year. This stronghold will grow in the future, but after all, there will not be too many people we can send. Many. 46%. Chapter 263 The Power of the Ordos Tribe. In the evening, Wang Zhang's guard came to the Hua's stronghold and told Wakai that it was the invitation of the Patriarch Tifa. Wakai came to Wang's account and saw that there was only Patriarch Tifa waiting for him. Patriarch Tifa, why are you looking for me so late? Wakai asked. They only separated shortly in the afternoon. Brother Huakai, I don't hide it from you. In the past 4 years, the Ordos tribe has the food support you left behind. In addition, we have survived the food crisis before the tribal trade drought is over. This is how the tribe's slaves increased sharply. The whole tribe is happy for it, but it's not that simple. Patriarch Tifa gave Wakaila a chair. Because of the influence of the Wa family, Ordos had begun to have some tables and chairs. Huakai knew these words from Patriarch Tifa, and he could also guess the pressure of the Ordos tribe. The strength of a tribe depends on the overall power and high-end combat power. The Ordos tribe was a medium-sized tribe 4 years ago. Now that the total population has become the largest in the Xiongnu nation, would other large tribes allow him to continue this way? In the past few years, several major tribes in the Hunu country sold us a large number of slaves in order to obtain goods and reduce the pressure of tribal food shortages. This year, the number of cattle and sheep in many of their tribes has begun to recover, and their attitudes towards the Ordos tribe have also begun to change drastically this year. We have already had friction with many large tribes around, and I have always exercised restraint. If we go to war with multiple tribes at the same time, we will not be opponents. Patriarch Tifa said of the tribe's dilemma. The predicament of the Ordos tribe should be more difficult than what Patriarch Tifa said now. Now they have a lot of people and livestock, and they are so rich. Today Huakai saw that one of them had a Shantian who was not in the tribe, and he must have gone to the border. How many large tribes are in friction with the Ordos tribe? How many medium-sized tribes are there? Wakai asked. There are 4 large tribes. After hearing the news from the border, 2 other tribes have sent masters to deal with us. There are 3 medium-sized tribes. Patriarch Tifa said with his head lowered. There are only 10.5 large tribes in the Xiongnu nation, and most of them directly started to work on the Ordos tribe. At this time, the Ordos tribe would not dare to act rashly, and one would be torn apart by a pack of wolves if one was not careful. Fortunately, it is much better than I thought. 6 big tribes at once provoke the Ordos tribe. Among them, the Karakan tribe must participate. Now the Ordos tribe should be the most powerful tribe besides the Karakan tribe. How can the Harkin tribe let you develop with peace of mind? Huakai analyzed. Patriarch Tifa nodded with a bitter expression. This was also his most worried thing. The Kalakan tribe is the only super tribe in the Hunu country. The patriarch of the Kalakan tribe claims to be the king of the Hun as a foundation building. It is a hegemonic existence in the Xiongnu country. The Ordos tribe has not yet been listed by them as the big tribe of the Hunu country. Column, what they will meet may be the pressure of other tribes in the entire Huns. We analyze the current situation. First, the Karakan tribe should not allow the Ordos tribe to grow so large, and there is no need for another large tribe. Second, the Karakan tribe must have communicated with all the large tribes. Perhaps they have already discussed how to distribute the spoils after the Ordos tribe is eliminated. Third, the Ordos tribe is already on the opposite side of the original 10 tribes on the grassland. We will face the competition from the 10 tribes on the Xiongnu grassland. Hua Kai analyzed. Yes, I didn't expect so much before. The situation should be more serious than we thought. The top 10 tribes have one foundation building realm, more than 20 Shantian realms, and the tribal warriors are more than 4 times more than us. We can't. It's an opponent. Patriarch Tai Fa looked at Hua Kai and said. Nevertheless, we also have our own advantage. Hua Kai suddenly changed. What advantage do we have? Patriarch Tifa couldn't imagine that they had any hope of victory. Perhaps he could only leave the tribe and lead the core members to flee west. At the very least, we already know that the Karakan tribe is behind the scenes. Hua Kai said. Knowing what's the use, even if I can resist King Xiongnu, the opponent's Shantian realm is much more than us. Our warriors have sophisticated weapons, but they have no effect on Shantian realm. Patriarch Tifa said in a disappointed voice. This is very useful. In fact, you can think of this as a battle for the king of the Huns. The 2 people who are fighting are you and the Huns, the Ordos tribe and the Kalakan tribe. The Kalakan tribe is located in the northernmost part of the Huns, and to the south of the Ordos tribe, they are the attackers and we are the defenders. This in itself is best for us. Hua Kai said, and the chief Tifa nodded secretly. We can regard the entire Huns as 5 parts. The first part is the Harkin tribe area. This is our core opponent. It occupies about 20% of the entire Huns. In the second part, the other 9 tribes, who are regarded as followers of the Karakan tribe, occupy half of the land of the Huns. In the third part, those small and medium tribes who remain neutral generally dare not offend any large tribe. The fourth part is about more than 40 affiliated tribes belonging to Erdish. Compared with the 9 tribes, they have a big gap in strength, but they are not to be glimpsed. The fifth part is about us. Although the Karakan tribe fears us, it may not be clear about our true strength. This is our greatest opportunity. Hua Kai said with a smile at the corner of his mouth. When Patriarch Tifa heard this, he felt confident. The grassland tribes worshipped military force. Very few people possessed such a big picture analysis ability. Patriarch Tifa, who had already felt hopeless, saw Hua Kai smiling. With confidence. Brother, you don't want to talk about it anymore. Tell me how to deal with the immediate crisis. If they attack at the same time, we won't have the strength to resist. Patriarch Tai Fa said anxiously. No hurry, none of the 9 tribes have the strength to defeat us alone, and they dare not take the lead in attacking. Hua Kai said confidently. No tribe is willing to fight themselves with the Ordos tribe and let other tribes take advantage of it. The more they know that the Ordos tribe is about to be destroyed, the more cautious they will be. I told you about the 5 major forces in the grassland today. Now the Karakan tribe has occupied more than 70% of the grassland in the Xiongnu nation, and we, including the affiliated tribes, occupy less than 30% of the territory. The Karakan tribe is more than 1,600 miles away from us. In order to maintain his image as the overlord of the Huns, he should not attack us at will, so what we have to do is to hide the strength as much as possible and hold the opponent's attack for a few years. The situation may change drastically. The big development policy set by Hua Kai. Then what should we do now? Is it consuming like this? Patriarch Tai Fa asked. The Karakan tribe uses their affiliated forces to put pressure on us, and we can also start from our own affiliated forces to deal with the opponent's offensive. First of all, we can ascension the strength of the affiliated tribes, let them weaken our pressure, give them territory and material support. If they can have medicine pill, weapons and other support, they will definitely be able to bear a large part of the pressure for the Ordos tribe. After all, I don't know that our enemy is the Harkin tribe. Quote. Secondly, win over all neutral tribes that can be won over. It would be better if they can join our lineup. Try not to join us and try not to make them hostile to us. Trade with them can also make a lot of profits. Third, send people to contact tribes that are hostile to us. They attack us only for profit. If we can give them benefits, we will surely eliminate some of their hostility. In fact, they don't want the Harkin tribe to be the only one in their hearts. Fourth, tell all the core members of the Ordos tribe to make everyone aware of the crisis that the tribe is facing, establish a plan for the future development of the tribe, and strive to divide the Kalakan tribe from the north to the south. The last thing is to be careful about the decapitation of the Hun king. If you can equip all the Shantian realms with a horse, then if you encounter a sneak attack by the Hun king, as long as all of you Shantian realms can escape, he will not dare to take the Ordos tribe. For the 4 Shantian realms of Shenju, it is not too simple to take revenge on a tribe. Hua Kai stopped talking when he said that. As the patriarch of the Ordos tribe, Patriarch Tifa is more expert in details than Hua Kai. Patriarch Tifa gradually smiled when he heard the corner of his mouth. The Ordos tribe possessed a large amount of salt, cloth, tea and other materials urgently needed in the grassland. It is not too easy to win over a tribe. After Huakai mentioned this point, he suddenly felt that even if he faced the Kalakan tribe, he was not so scared. If that was the case, then there was nothing terrible about the Ordos tribe. Brother Hua, after your guidance, my heart feels settled right away. King Hun dares to come to the Ordos tribe. We will let him know what it means to die without fear of death. Brother, I have also learned a lot from the Chinese family in the past few years. Now the herdsmen and slaves are willing to die for the tribe. The chief Tai Fa said this, full of confidence in his heart. It was not that Hua Kai told him the loyalty of all the banner owners of the tribe for him 4 years ago. In the past few years, the banner owners and slaves he has strongly supported have all been fast ascension, which made him have the current prestige in the tribe. By the way, the former slaves of the Ordos tribe have been almost consumed by us. Today, the more than 200,000 slaves of the tribe have basically been bought in the past 4 years. Tomorrow you will select a batch of qualified ones for me. The collected elixir and strange stones have all been sent to the Wahia resident. This time I can select another batch of medicine pill. This time I must surprise the Karakan tribe. 47%. Chapter 264. Most of the confidence of Patriarch Tifa comes from Huakai. As long as the Hua family is behind him, he will have a steady stream of supplies. This is also the biggest dependence of the Ordos tribe. You just mentioned the sacred horse. Now there is only one sacred horse in the Ordos tribe. I have been collecting famous horses for the past few years. Now the tribal BMW has more than 200 horses. Tomorrow, see if it is possible to be promoted to the sacred horse. In the past few years, the Ordos tribe has been promoting the symbiotic relationship with the Hua family. I have sent many people to the Hua family to study. You can see if you can help Ascension's strength tomorrow. In addition, I have already negotiated with several nearby tribes, and I can go to their tribes to select some slaves at a high price, and we will distribute them according to the previous method. Patriarch Tifa couldn't help but smile at the corner of his mouth when he said this. This selection of slaves is the most wicked thing. If all the qualified slaves of the several major tribes are selected, it will be difficult for their tribes to have slaves above the chi training level in the future. Their tribes do not have new blood to join, and the tribal strength is only it will get weaker and weaker, and they don't know why. Okay, tomorrow I will look at the horse first, and then you will gather people in the tribe who need ascension strength, and in the afternoon we will select slaves. Hua Kai replied. The Hua family intends to take the horses and slaves home in early June. Hua Kai can stay in the Ordos tribe for 13 days. In these 13 days, he can give the Ordos tribe a step up. When I returned to the Hua's resident at night, the Hua's slaves rode horses just in time to drove the cattle and sheep back. Seeing tens of thousands of cattle and sheep being sent into the cattle and sheep pens, Huakai knew that the Hua's family basically did not do anything here. I am worried about food. As long as it stabilizes slowly, this place will gradually become a material delivery point for the Wahia in the future, providing impetus for the development of the Wahia. Back in the tent Shui Chen built for himself, Hua Kai opened the family properties panel. Wahia Bao. The 6th rank family. Prosperity. 4,128. Combat power. 7,063. Agriculture. 3,115. Animal husbandry. 2,160. Commercial. 3,912. Culture. 778. Comprehensive strength, 21,156. Allies, Ordos tribe, 5th rank, Yao family, 7th rank, Ujumchin tribe, 2nd rank, Lu family, 2nd rank, Sihai Chamber of Commerce, 4th rank. Affiliated forces, Huang family, 9 rank, Ren family, 9 rank, Jia family, 9 rank, Yi family, 9 rank, Tai family, 9 rank, Yu family, 9 rank. Hostile forces, Zhao Guoshan family, 3rd rank, Lindsay City BU family, 7th rank. Capital, 82 purple gold coins, 192043 taels of gold, 810521 taels of silver, 102,384 pieces of bone coins. Luck value, 6,135. Portable space, 5 cubic meters. Except for the slight decline in business, other attributes of the family are steadily ascending, especially after their breakthrough Shantian realm. The family's combat power attribute has reached 7,000 points, and it is only one condition for the family to be promoted to 5th rank. Shang family attribute breakthrough 10,000 points can become the 5th rank family. For this Huakai, it was originally placed on the family's development of animal husbandry after the family arrived in Takayanagi County. I did not expect the family to develop so fast this year. Now it seems that the Ascension family's battle strength is complete. The main task is the fastest. For a long time, Wakai did not have the strength for the family member ascension, especially when he was in Qin last year. The family has been promoted to the 6th rank, and 500 new places have been added. If he returns to Jialiu County this time, he must give the family member ascension a good one. Wave strength. Checking the strength of all family members in the family directory. Among the more than 300 family members in the Ordos tribe, nearly 100 are in the family directory, and most of them have never entered the family secret realm space. Here Wakai selected 20 people and asked Shui Chen to invite them to the Wa tent alone. When the sun on the grassland rose again, the Ordos tribe became busy again. Patriarch Tifa invited all the banner owners of the tribe to the king's account to discuss matters early in the morning. When the banner owners came out for 2 hours, some of the banner owners showed a heavy expression on their faces, and the eyes of more young banner owners were full of excitement. The Patriarch Tifa began to send the major banner owners of the tribe to the 9 tribes as lobbyists, and the remaining banner owners also quietly went to the affiliated tribes. They redistributed the pastures to many affiliated tribes, and asked them to organize all the air-powered leaders in 10 days. Members of the Consummation and above went to the Ordos tribe to gather. Except for the core members of the Ordos tribe, no one knows what this party means. The herders are still living their own lives. They just think that their family can eat enough recently this year, and they can buy salt, and occasionally buy some cloth, and with tea and sugar improving life, everything has become easier than before. The strength of the entire Ordos tribe lies in ascension. Huakai was taken by Prince Chigambara to the horse farm where they cultivated famous horses. There are a total of thousands of horses in this horse farm, of which BMW has more than 200. Huakai carefully checked the attributes of more than 200 BMWs and found that 19 BMWs had a minimum attribute of 36 points. It can be seen that Patriarch Tifa also worked hard to collect BMWs. These 19 BMWs are likely to be promoted. As for whether they can be promoted successfully in the end, it depends on the effect of the final trial. Huakai asked all the 19 BMWs to be sent out of its tent and sent a few family members. The guard, the others all withdrew from the Huakai tent 500 meters away. Bringing a BMW into his tent, Huakai only came out after an hour and a half. At this time, he and the BMW were soaked in sweat, but Huakai was very satisfied. The horse's original physical and mental abilities were over 41 point. This time the speed ascension was 6 points, and he successfully broke through and became a magic horse. Someone led the horse down and gave him some more fine materials, and Wakai began to lead the second horse into the tent. At noon, before Huakai had completed the trial for the third horse, Patriarch Tifa took hundreds of important members of the tribe to wait at the Wahia residence. Hearing from the Wahia Ding that his patron was busy, Patriarch Tifa took him. With everyone waiting quietly outside the Wahia residence. Our Patriarch let you in. The Wahia Jading saw that the banner owners and young talents of the Ordos tribe came to the Wahia residence under the personal leadership of the Patriarch Tifa. He felt extremely proud in his heart. The arrival of Huakai made the whole Wa the status of family members seems to have improved. Patriarch Tifa came outside the Huakai tent and saw another BMW being slowly pulled towards the racecourse. There were 16 BMWs waiting there, and he knew that Huakai was upgrading the BMW just now. When he walked into the Huakai tent and saw him sitting on the blanket with a pale face, he knew that the Ascension BMW level was not so easy, otherwise the Hua family would have spent so much running to the grassland to buy horses. Brother Hua, you have to pay attention to your body. The horses can be upgraded slowly. Patriarch Tai Fa said worriedly when he saw Hua Kai's appearance. It's okay. Trying 3 BMWs in a row, mental energy consumes a lot. Have you brought all the tribe personnel? Hua Kai asked. It's all off the account. Why don't you take a rest? Patriarch Tifa said. No, you can tell them everything that should be said. Hua Kai said as he got up and walked out of the tent. The tribes who can be selected are the most talented and loyal people who have been tested. They know what to say and what not to say. Patriarch Tifa said in Hua Kai's ear. Huakai got out of the tent, someone brought him a chair, and he let everyone pass in front of him. As a result, 54 people had a loyalty value of more than 80 points. Huakai selected 5 people who were loyal to over 90 points, and then from the remaining 49 people, 11 of the late stage of Qi Lianjing were selected, and 14 of them were Zochan. The above personnel stayed behind, and the others let Patriarch Tai Fa take away. For a total of 30 people, entering the Hua family's family secret realm space trial will consume 10 times the value of Qi luck. Each person needs 160 Qi luck points for all trials of the 4 secret realms, which is 4,800 points in total. The Hua family's family luck value is now 6,472 points. With the dragon carp inkstone and animal bone bracelet suppressing air luck, the family luck value is below 6,000 points and about 500 points of family luck can be restored every day, so these people 9 heavens is required to complete all trials. The 4 secret realms can only enter 1 person at a time. Huakai asked Patriarch Tifa to arrange the order for them. It was just right to organize 10 people to come to the trial from 11 noon to 4 p.m. every day. After completing the trial of 10 people at noon, Huakai went into the tent to rest and enter the Big Dream View Idea Dream Space Cultivation. In the afternoon, the 3 BMW trials continued. After that, 2 hours rest was over, and it was the evening when Huakai went to the slave camp with Patriarch Tifa to select slaves. Because after entering the Shantian realm, Huakai mental energy has a significant ascension, and now the use of True Eye to explore the attributes is not too expensive. The Ordos tribe organizes all slaves to quickly pass by Huakai. If you encounter Huakai with qualifications above B+ only then will this slave be picked out. Small and medium tribes compare their overall combat power, and large tribes compare their Shantian level combat power. Only those with qualifications above B+ can hope to become the great perfection in the practice of Qi, and realm below this level is of little use to the Ordos tribe. It took Huakai for 3 consecutive hours to select until midnight, and only 10,000 slaves were selected. A total of 197 slaves were selected. Patriarch Tifa smiled upon seeing this place. He knows that the reason for his tribe's ascension in recent years is it not brought by the thousands of slaves with A or higher qualifications. As for the distribution of 197 slaves, Shui Chen and other members of the Hua family went to discuss with the Ordos tribe. After Hua Kai returned to the tent, he saw the dinner that Shui Chen had brought him on the table. A fragrant roast leg of lamb with the secret sauce made by the Chinese family made people feel appetite. Hua Kai took the roast leg of lamb and ate 2 bites, then poured himself a glass of spirit wine and slowly tasted it. At this time, he saw Shui Chen coming in from outside. What are you busy with today? I haven't seen you all day. Hua Kai saw Shui Chen coming in and pointed to the chair next to him. Shui Chen sat across from him. Hua Kai took out a wine glass, and Hua Kai poured him a glass of spirit wine. When they were in Jixia Academy, they would drink a few when they were fine. In a blink of an eye, even the 10th youngest of the Hua family, Shui Chen, the youngest of the 2, started to play for the family. 47%. Chapter 265 Tribal Assembly. It usually seems to be fine here, but many small things are trivial. Today, the Ordos tribe sent a batch of elixir. I have sent it to the pill refining room to store it. The total value is about 120,000 gold. This month they have sent more than 1 million gold of elixir, totaling more than 30,000. Patriarch Tifa has taken away a part of medicine pill, and the bills are here. Quote. Shui Chen took out a bill, and Hua Kai roughly looked at how thick it was an inch. It took less than a month. This year we will only transport horses and slaves. These cattle and sheep need to be raised here for 1 year. We must train some herders so that we will be more likely to drive cattle and sheep back to Jialiu County. When Shui Chen said that, Huakai nodded slightly. The average sheep can travel 50 miles a day for long-distance relocation. To travel from the Ordos tribe back to Jialiu County, more than 4,000 miles are counted as accidents on the road, and it takes at least 4. Within a few months, this will have very high demands on the accompanying herdsmen. Therefore, while Shui Chen and others are doing a good job in slave loyalty education, they must also let everyone have herding skills, and then improve everyone's combat effectiveness. Does the Ordos tribe have much demand for medicine pill this year? Hua Kai looked at the transaction ledger and asked Shui Chen. This year, their demand for Fandin has decreased, and the demand for Broken Barrier pill and Thanglong pill has increased, and the demand for Baodin has increased several times. A few days ago, Patriarch Tifa asked me if I could help break through Shantian medicine pill in the realm. Shui Chen replied. Give the Patriarch Tifa a Xuanbing pill. He has not accumulated enough in the Shantian realm, and he is far from the foundation building, but with the Xuanbing pill he can protect himself more against the foundation building realm. In addition, all Baodin can also be provided to them in an appropriate amount. This time 30 of them enter the family secret realm space trial, and the probability of cooperating with Baodin breakthrough will be much greater. Hua Kai thought for a while and said, Patriarch, you'd better take the time to go to the slave camp tomorrow and select a group of well-qualified slaves for key training. It will also become easier for us to manage the family residence in the future. The two chatted for a while and saw that the time had entered the middle of the night. Today was the day when all the core members of the family met. Huakai entered the family secret realm space to tell everyone about the difficulties encountered by the Ordos tribe and the Ordos tribe for a long time to come. The demand for many goods will increase, and Wahia must be prepared. On the second day, Huakai still focused on upgrading BMW. The value of a horse is not measurable by money. In the past few days, the Hua family can get half of the promotion to the Ordos tribe. In the afternoon, the trial of 10 people from the Ordos tribe was completed. Today, there is a Zochin who was promoted to Shantian. This is the 5th Shantian level of the Ordos tribe. This makes them more confident in dealing with the next crisis. In the evening, Huakai did not go to the Ordos tribe slave camp to select slaves. Instead, he went to the Wahia slave team to select personnel with B or higher qualifications. A total of 92 people can only be said to be ordinary people in this group. Among them, there are 3A or higher qualifications. There is also a woman. On May 27th, Huakai brought the last BMW out of the family secret realm space with a smile on his mouth. This BMW was originally the one with the least hope of promotion among all BMWs, but it was finally promoted. Sacred Horse. At 9 heavens, he took 19 BMWs into the family secret realm space 57 times, with an average of 1.5 hours each time. It was a high-intensity trial. If there is no daily big dream idea mental energy recovery, Huakai early I'm exhausted. Nevertheless, thinking of the hard work of this time, Huakai feels that everything is worth it. The last 7 of the 19 BMWs were promoted to the horses. If this is told to others, no one will believe it. The distribution of these 7 horses finally became a problem. The Ordos tribe and the Hua family got 3 horses and 4 horses on the other side. Finally, the two sides negotiated and decided that the 7 horses of the Hua family would choose 3 horses first, and then the remaining 4 horses would go to the Ordos tribe. In the end, the Ordos tribe chose 6 more BMWs among the 12 failed BMWs. This is obviously the Wahia's concession. There were 4 more horses in the Ordos tribe, and now there are 5 horses in total. They use these 5 horses as the species to slowly ascension the quality of tribal horses. In the future, high-end horses will become the backbone of the tribe's survival. The 30 Ordos tribe members all finished their trials in the family secret realm space. A total of 2 people entered the Shantian realm, and 6 entered the Qi training realm. Huakai deeply felt that the further the breakthrough, the more difficult it became, even if it was family secret realm space help is also limited. Although there is no breakthrough, Huakai knows that this trial will have a great impact on them in the future, especially after entering the Qinshi secret realm. They have a correct understanding of their past and future. This experience is worthwhile. Then an epiphany. After the trials of BMW and the members of the Ordos tribe, Huakai finally did not have to be so tired every day. That night, Huakai selected more than 10,000 slaves and divided the selected slaves into 2 on the spot. At this time, the Tifa Patriarch sent someone. Find Huakai. In the past few days, Huakai has been very busy, and Patriarch Tifa is also busy dealing with relations with other tribes. His Nine Heavens has already negotiated with nearly 100 small and medium tribes in the Xiongnu nation, and has established trade partnerships with many tribes. Many tribes have already established trade relations with them. The relationship between the deep-seated allies is determined. Of course, these cannot be set at will. Only during Nine Heavens' time, Patriarch Tifa no longer cares about the attacks and harassment of the surrounding tribes. He participated in attacking the 6 tribes of the Ordos tribe. 2 of them have been drawn to the Ordos tribe, and the 2 are neutral, and the rest, the 2 who did not speak, were the old rivals of the Ordos tribe, and Patriarch Tifa had already made arrangements to deal with it. The patriarch of the remaining large tribe, Tifa, has sent people to communicate with them, and the other party is willing to join the trade cooperation with the Ordos tribe, so the possibility of becoming an enemy of the Ordos tribe is basically non-existent, so the crisis has basically been resolved. It depends on the Kalakan tribe. It was time to find that something was wrong, and I came up with a new way to deal with the Ordos tribe. Patriarch Tifa invited Huakai to have dinner in his own king's account. Huakai found that the other party had already understood the power of ice, but he was only just getting started. He still had a long way to go before he was promoted to the foundation building level. When he arrived at the king's account of the Ordos tribe, the Patriarch Tifa told him about the contact between the lower tribe and the various tribes of the Xiongnu nation. Now the situation should be considered as we have the upper hand. We will try our best not to tear our face with the Karakan tribe before the critical juncture. Now there are signs that the Ordos tribe and the Karakan tribe are divided between the north and the south. The next thing we need to do is to consolidate. Own ally, Ascension's own strength. Huakai said after listening to Patriarch Tifa. I think so too. Tomorrow, the 52 small and medium-sized tribes of the Ordos tribe and many people above the pneumatic level will come. I want you to see how loyal they are to the Ordos tribe. If they are worthy of rest assured, I will quietly conduct medicine with them. Pill trade, so their strength ascension is also beneficial to us. Patriarch Tifa said. Huakai nodded, saying this would benefit the Ordos tribe without any harm. When the Kalakan tribe discovers the strangeness, it may not be necessary for the Ordos tribe to take action. Its allies and affiliated tribes will be uncomfortable for the Kalakan tribe. The Ordos tribe summoned all the affiliated tribes in the name of pasture distribution and goods trading. There were more than 300 members from various tribes who came to the Ordos tribe on this day. After checking the talents, realm, and loyalty of these people, Huakai quietly handed the list to Patriarch Tifa. After the banquet, Patriarch Tifa announced the new allocation of pastures. Most of them did not expect that the Ordos tribe would be so generous this time. All the remote pastures were basically allocated, and only a few tribes reduced the pasture area. These are all signs of loyalty. The value is negative. Since it hates the Hua family, there is basically no possibility of being loyal to the Ordos tribe. After that, the tribes and the banner owners of the Ordos tribe began to discuss the method of trading goods. Patriarch Tifa took the opportunity to invite the leaders of more than 20 tribes to his king's account and quietly discuss the medicine pill transaction with the other party. He would every time he specifically mentioned several highly qualified members of the opposing tribe, which made all tribes admire him. Huakai didn't know how much benefit the Ordos tribe gained from this tribal gathering. When the gathering was over, Shui Chen told Huakai in the evening that Patriarch Tifa had sent tens of thousands of elixir, among which more than 30 elixir was above 5th rank. Strain. This time the Ordos tribe and the Hua family are making big profits. When the party is over, it is time for the Wahia caravan to go home. This year, because it is a new road, Huakai intends to set off on June 1st. After this party, the Ordos tribe has earned a lot of horses. Shui Chen has bought 16,000 horses from them, and all the slaves here also want to ride home with them. If all slaves can be a horse, the speed of riding home will inevitably be greatly accelerated, but there are also problems and risks involved. First of all, slaves are familiar with horses. It is a problem to learn how to ride horses. There are only more than 300 people in the Hua family. It is not easy to watch so many riding slaves. If there is a slave bombing camp and they all escape on horses, Huakai's loss will be great. It is easy to solve this problem with Huakai. These slaves have received ideological education in the Hua family residence for more than a month, and there is no shortage of food every day. If the loyalty is less than 10 points, Huakai asks Shui Chen to return them to the Ordos tribe. This time he returns home with only 30 points or more of loyalty points. There were more than 20,000 slaves in total, and more than 1,000 were selected by Huakai who had a loyalty value of less than 10 points. When they saw that the members of the Hua family wanted to return them to the Ordos tribe, they all cried and knelt on the ground and began begging for mercy. Life in the Wahia resident, there is no need to worry about food every day, and there are clothes to be distributed. Returning to the Ordos tribe is really not as good as a horse or a horse. How long you can live depends on luck. 47%. Chapter 266. The Chinese caravan is preparing to go home. This year, they will only go on horseback in their business. They did not use the carriage, and they may not use it again in the future. Thousands of loyal slaves were sent away, and several members of the Chinese family who wanted to stir up trouble among the slaves were directly killed. Huakai saw that all the slaves suddenly calmed down, and the loyalty of many slaves had risen a lot, and he was more confident about going home this time. There are more than 14,000 slaves who intend to send home this time, with a total of more than 15,000 horses. In this way, everyone rides on one horse, and the Hua family still has more than 5,000 horses remaining in the Ordos tribe resident. Thousands of the most loyal were selected from 14,000 people. The Hua family divided them into 14 brigades, 10 squadrons in each brigade, and 10 squadrons in each squadron. This is how the family came up with a way to manage the slaves. This morning in the family secret realm space, hundreds of medicine pills were refined continuously, and his family luck value has been consumed by him until it is close to the red warning line of 5,000 points. Finally, all the medicine pill needed by the Ordos tribe were filled, and the trade with the other party was almost completed this year, and the rest of the ordinary goods transaction waited for Huakai to bring the Hua family back home, and Shui Chen stayed and continued. After Huakai refined all the medicine pills, he went to Tifa Patriarch Wang's account to bid farewell to him. When Huakai returns to the resident Wahia, all the slaves returning home are ready. If everything goes well, they will be able to go back in about a month. Because Huakai is here this time, you don't need to bring too many on the way home, luggage. There were 271 members of the Hua family who went home with Huakai, and the Ordos tribe left only more than 50 people at once. The grazing work in the resident is done by slaves, and more than 50 of them manage the remaining 7,000 slaves. In the Ordos tribe, these slaves did not dare to shake the sky. In the evening, a bonfire party was held in the Wahia resident, and all the slave team leaders, medium and small captains were invited to participate. The first time these slaves were so valued by the Hua family, they all seemed very excited. Most of them were just civilians before. This time, because of a blessing in disguise, they had the opportunity to be accepted by the family, and they all seemed very cautious. From tomorrow on, we will go home. From tomorrow on, all the slaves present will get rid of their slave status and become a Chinese family. But before returning to Jialiu City, you all need to pass the test. This time everyone will be assigned a horse when they go home, and there will be slaves riding away on horseback, and it must not happen. If there is a squad slave escape incident, the entire squad will be executed. If the entire squadron escaped, everyone in the squadron was put to death, all the squadron escaped, and the squadron did not leave 1,000 people. As long as all of your subordinates can smoothly return to Jialiu City, everyone present will have rewards to get. The squad leader will be rewarded with 2 gold, the squadron will be rewarded with 5 gold, and the squadron will be rewarded with 10 gold. When you arrive in Jialiu City, if you have anything to leave, everyone can leave freely as long as you pay a ransom of 2 gold. If you have any relatives, the Hua family will also find ways to help you find your relatives and send them to Jialiu City to reunite with you. Hua Kai said loudly, standing in the middle of everyone. All the slaves listened attentively, and many people showed excitement on their faces. As long as they can return to Jialiu City smoothly and the Hua family's reward is enough for them to redeem themselves, then they will find a way to escape halfway, not to mention the risk, and they may get lost on the grassland and be eaten by the wolves. The captains on the scene all looked at his 10 squadron captains, and the squadron captain looked at the 10 squadron captains. If they can safely return to Jialiu City, they can get a lot of money, which is much more than they used to. You can't earn it for years. After Hua Kai said this, he ignored everyone. He chatted with all the family members about going home tomorrow. Nearly 10,000 slaves were okay on their own way. If they encounter fighting, they won't be too effective, so everything is safe on the road. Only rely on 272 of them. All the slave captains are in a circle and are discussing how to manage their members not to escape. They must explain clearly to each slave when they go back tonight. Everyone must supervise each other. If they find any signs of escaping, they must first, if he reported it for a time, even if he was killed directly, he would not be able to escape. If one person escaped, it would mean that the other 9 members of the team had to be buried. Seeing that the discussion among the 14 teams became more and more intense, Wakai and everyone from the Wa family retreated and gave them the place. All the captains are desperately trying to seize such a good opportunity. The biggest motivation for a person is nothing more than 2 types. One is to fly and the other is to survive. When 2 things meet together at that time, they had no choice. In the early morning of the next day, Wakai heard the noise outside the tent. He opened his eyes and it was still dark outside the tent. The slave captains have begun to organize the team, waiting to receive their own horses. Some slaves who stand in a non-standard line will be whipped by the captain. If this slave turns over, it is really unambiguous to start with his former companions. When Huakai got out of the tent, he saw that all the slaves were full of energy today. He didn't know what the slave captain said to them last night. Today, most of everyone's loyalty points have increased by more than 5 points, which is not a small number. After breakfast, Huakai came to his racecourse. Lu saw Huakai's arrival and neighed happily inside. One jumped across the fence and came to Huakai's side, rubbing his head against Huakai's chest happily. Black Eagle also saw Wakai coming. It jumped over the fence and watched Wakai running around by his side but did not dare to move forward. Presumably Lu did not clean it less. Lu, I have stayed in the Ordos tribe since Tianshan came back. When I saw Shui Chen's arrival, he followed Shui Chen to the horse farm of the Wahia resident. Huakai only visited it twice in the 10 days since he returned. In this adventure, it relied more on Huakai. Black Eagle, because Huakai is too busy. I always wanted to take it for trials but didn't have time. It was very angry when he saw that Huakai was occupied by other horses, but he didn't dare to show in front of Lu. In this racecourse, Lu is a god horse. He is a true horse king. It seemed very excited to ride on Lu. Maybe it was because of the change in Huakai's strength. Now that Huakai enters the Shantian realm, it will be even better to cooperate with it. When encountering the mountains, it is really flying through the air all the way, and it will become very simple to walk through the air. Wakai watched all the slaves pull out the horses from the racecourse, and under the leadership of the team leader, a squadron of hundreds stood together, and a brigade of 1,000 people lined up neatly. He led 200 members of the Chinese family on horseback, 50 members of the Chinese family rode at the end, and the remaining 20 people led the way in front of the slave team, so it was basically impossible for the slaves to leave quietly. Shui Chen and other left-behind members of the Chinese family sent all the family members out of the Ordos tribe, and Prince Chagambara waited for them outside the tribe with more than 3,000 cavalry. Patriarch Tifa has recently been at an important moment to discuss cooperation and alliance with other tribes. He can only send Prince Chagambara to see Huakai off. Prince Chagambara kept sending them out of Bailey, watching the Wa family and more than 14,000 people riding eastward before turning back to the tribe. Wakai walked in the forefront to minimize unnecessary trouble for the slave troops behind him. Although the number of members of the Chinese family who escorted this time was not large, 12 of the 271 family members were trained in the Qi state, more than 100 in the pneumatic state, and the rest were in the late stage of the Kaiyuan state, but they were all well-equipped and well-equipped. The above war horses are not afraid of encountering thousands of horse bandits. Horse bandits generally seldom attack caravans like them when placed on the grassland. Now that the Shantian realm of Huakai exists, the safety of the Chinese caravans is even more guaranteed. Seeing that the shadows of Shui Chen and Prince Chagambara gradually disappeared from the horizon, Wakai divided the 200 guards into 20 teams and scattered them around the large army so that everyone could hurry. There were more than 14,000 slaves, and tens of thousands of people rode only strong horses. In the past few years, everything has been recovering in the grassland. It is very rare to collect so many horses in a year. Until noon, the sun rose and everyone was in the squadron. Wakai took out a dozen prepared large tents for the family members to send to the slave brigade. The tent is actually just a piece of cloth. There is only one tent roof. The slaves use weapons, wooden sticks and other things as support. The simplest large tent is successfully built, and thousands of slaves can escape the heat underneath. At noon on the grassland in June, the sun is very hot. It is not possible without a tent to cool off. Although Huakai's portable space cannot bring 1,000 tents for everyone to live in, it can still be installed with a dozen large cloths. On the first day, all the slaves were very energetic, and the horses had sufficient physical strength. By the time they set up camp at night, they had already walked 400 miles, and they had already left the territory of the Ordos tribe. Hua Kai woke up before it was lighted the next day. He sorted out 15 piles of supplies for this year's caravan in the tent, 1 pile for each of the 14 slave brigades, and 1 pile for everyone from the Hua family. The slaves were mainly wheat, and some coarse grains were used to replenish the strength of the horses. When the 2 killed sheep arrived in the slave team, it was estimated that they would be able to taste the taste above the captain. The materials of the members of the Chinese family are much more abundant. There are 10 sheep for 200 people, and a lot of food, most of which are for horses. After the food and materials needed for the day were delivered, Hua Kai soon saw smoke rising from the various brigade areas, and everyone had to eat breakfast to hurry. After breakfast, Hua Kai looked at the red clouds in the sky. They are now going east all the way differently from the previous Wahia caravan. They don't need to go through the Huhan tribe to go directly east to the border of the Xiongnu nation. At the border, the caravan needs to travel thousands of miles north, after crossing the northwestern part of the Dongling Mountains, entering the northern part of the Linhu grassland and then crossing the entire Donghu country, and finally entering the Baoyuguan and reaching Jialiu County. When they came, Zhuang and Shui Chen had already visited the various tribes along the way. They had discussed with the major tribes along the route about the tolls of the Chinese caravans. Only the major tribes of the grasslands have the right to charge tolls. There has always been a tacit understanding between the tribes. After breakfast, all the luggage was packed, and all the tents were sent back to Hua Kai to receive the carry-on space. First, the Hua family leader Jia Ding ordered the first team to follow them, and the entire Hua family team finally set off. Hua Kai and 200 members of the guards assembled on horseback at the forefront. Within an hour, they found that there were tribal patrol cavalry in front of them. It didn't take long for a cavalry unit of 1,000 men to appear in front of them. This is a large tribe in the Xiongnu country. It will not be embarrassing for the Hua family to pass. Hua Kai handed over 10 steed horses to the other side and 40 strong horses to be released soon. Originally, it was most appropriate to trade with goods when they went, because the Wahia caravan did not bring the goods when they went, so they could only pay tolls when they went home. The horses that the caravan brought were prepared to pay the tolls. The general hard currency on the grassland is horses. 47%. Chapter 267 Grassland Horse Bandit. After leaving the Ordos tribe for 3 days, Hua Kai finally saw the Dongling Mountains across the 2 large tribal territories. They traveled north along the Dongling Mountains for 4 days before entering the Linhu grassland. Hua Kai has been to many tribes on the grassland in recent years, and he feels that each grassland tribe has its own style and characteristics. The differences in style between the grassland countries are even greater. Hua Kai compares the 3 countries of Dayu State, Xiongnu State, and Donghu State. The Dayu clan has the strongest folk culture atmosphere. Generally, they seldom come into contact with other tribes, and they rarely have conflicts with people. The management of small tribes by large tribes is mostly nominal, and each tribe's attachment relationship is very weak. The herders mostly live the simplest life in the most primitive ecology. The Xiongnu nation is dominated by large tribes. All small and medium tribes are struggling to survive under the wings of large tribes. Large tribes have special resources on the grassland. They divide regions and govern each other. Small and medium tribes are only the property of large tribes. When you arrive in Linhu, there are very few large tribes. Many small and medium tribes here have cooperative relations with the Central Plains caravan, and many Central Plains cultures can be seen here. There are caravans passing through the general tribes and they just go up to check if there are any good goods they can eat, and then sell them to other tribes to make a profit. Many merchant groups that go to the grassland to go on business basically stop here when they arrive, so here horse bandits are also the most. When entering Linhu grassland, Hua Kai saw a lot of horse teams appearing near them from time to time. The other side stared at the Wahia team to observe their strength. A 10,000 horse team like the Wahia team does not have a carriage. It is a difficult one. Class, so generally few horse bandits are willing to attack them. 2 days later, Hua Kai had seen more than a dozen horse bandits detection teams. Most of the horse bandits here only have 100 players, and they only attack some weak caravans. Hua Kai got up early in the morning. Some members of the Hua family told him that there was a 2,000-man horse bandit group in front of him. They were inspected every half an hour. Perhaps they had already seen that the Hua family horse team was not strong and wanted to test them. Something. 2,000 elite cavalry have to deal with more than 10,000 mobs. As long as they are strong and can slowly eat away the opponent, they may have seen that the Wahia cavalry team does not have much combat effectiveness. Let all the slave teams go forward normally. We will meet this horse bandit group. Don't give them color to see that they will pester you next year. Wa Kai heard the report to the Wa family and said, most of these horse bandits are people from nearby small and medium tribes. They call this behavior hunting. Generally, the tribes in the grassland have better riding skills than the people in the central plains. With the same horses and strength, they are not afraid of facing enemies 10 times their own. Sometimes they will work together when they encounter difficult bones, just like the horse bandits near Lin Hugwo's rocky beach. Wa Kai rode Lu with 200 people from the Wa family at the forefront of the team. He saw a cavalry squad of 2,000 people watching him quietly in the distance. He was not afraid even after he approached 500 meters. Seems to be waiting for them to send negotiators to negotiate with them. Although there are not many combat personnel in the Wa family, everyone is an elite of the family, especially Wa Kai himself as a Shantian realm. How could he be afraid of the other side? Wa Kai rode closer to each other and looked at the few members of the Qi training realm behind him. Everyone immediately understood what he meant. The 12 members of the Qi training realm slowly approached each other behind Wa Kai, as if they were about to negotiate with each other. At this time, more than 20 people appeared in the opposing party's queue. They seemed to be the leaders of their respective horse bandits. Basically, everyone was a horse. Wa Kai approached calmly and found that the opposing team actually had 2 training auras. No wonder they dared to attack a cavalry squad of 10,000 people, because even if all the cavalry squad of 10,000 people were not strong, they were not ordinary horse bandits. Provoked. The negotiators from both sides approached slowly. Wa Kai looked at everyone in the distance with a silver spear with a smile. The 12 Wa clan's Qi training realms were all standard silver spears. They rode behind Wa Kai on their horses. The other party seemed to find that Wa Kai and others were wrong, but they didn't care. They didn't believe that these dozen people could pose any threat to them. Seeing that the distance between the two parties is less than 100 meters, Hua Kai urged Lu to speed up, and the first reaction of the other representatives saw that they dispersed and prepared to outflank them. They planned to quickly eat Hua Kai and his group of 13 people, and then be behind him. Tens of thousands of cavalry teams compete. Lu, the speed is getting faster and faster. Wa Kai sees the position of the opponent's 2 training auras and rushes to them quickly. The other party did not expect that Wa Kai would be so bold, and several people besieged him. Lu rushed to the opponent's crowd. Wa Kai quickly shot to the opponent's strongest Qi training realm. The opponent also seemed to feel the power of Wa Kai, running his whole body. True Qi wanted to resist. Hua Kai's split air spear repelled the opponent with one move, and the opponent's face was suddenly frosted, and almost fell from the horse's back. Hua Kai's second killer move has arrived. Spot the opponent's weakness silver spear and kill directly to the neck of the opponent. The leader of the horse bandit wanted to resist, but his strength hadn't slowed down. He was pierced in the neck by the silver spear, and he was killed by Wa Kai with only 2 moves. At this time, the other horse bandit leader's killer moves had arrived, and a burst of energy shields rose around Wa Kai, unless the late stage of the training aura could still cause a little damage to him, and the attack of these horse bandit leaders in front of him was not a threat to him. Quickly fired the gun and killed the 2 again. At this time, the other party had already begun to find that something was wrong. They turned and fled one by one. Wa Kai caught up with one person and killed them with 1 move. At this time, the 12 members of the Wa clan had already reached the Qi training stage. Wa Kai killed 4 people in a row, and saw the horse bandit leaders start to flee. He spotted the position of the remaining aura training leader, and chased him with a horse. As long as anyone who didn't have eyes dared to stop him on the road, all died under his gun. Everyone, run away, they have the Shantian realm. At this time, a horse bandit leader yelled and said that the whole horse bandit group suddenly became confused. The Shantian realm is the strength that the patriarch of the big tribe has. How can they provoke the Shantian realm? They are unlucky if they admit the wrong target today. All the horse bandits are planning to escape quickly at this time. The merchant group escorted by the Shantian realm will never provoke them. How could Wa Kai let the opponent go? He saw that the last horse bandit leader was about to flee to the horse bandit group. His legs tightened Lu's horse body. Lu neighed and stepped into the air, training to that name. The leader of the horse thief chased after him. The moment Hua Kai saw Hua Kai riding a horse into the air, the Qi training horse bandit knew that it was impossible to escape to death today. A Shantian realm was enough to express his opinion. You are still riding a god horse. How can people live? He ordered the surrounding horses. The bandits attacked Huakai together, but how did these ordinary horse bandits stop Huakai's attack? After Huakai killed the leader of the Chi training horse bandit, the entire horse bandit group had begun to mess up. More than 20 people who originally went to negotiate with the Wahia caravan have now almost all been killed. Breaking into the horse bandit group is like cutting melons and vegetables. The entire horse bandit group keeps killing people. At this time, 200 secret Huakai guards have also been killed, and the whole horse bandit group began to flee. The Hua family will not miss such an opportunity. This year, these horse bandits will realize the strength of the Hua family. They will run away when they see the banner of the Hua family. Although the prairie horse bandits are greedy, they are shrewd. By the time Huakai found out that he had smashed the back of the horse bandit group, the slave group had already begun to surround and gather the prisoners of war. The horse bandit group with more than 2,000 people took less than 2 hours, and finally only more than 300 people escaped. Most of the horse bandits were killed, and some of them were surrounded by tens of thousands of slave teams. In the end, they had no choice but to surrender. Seeing that the slaves were already cleaning the battlefield, Huakai returned to the Hua family team and all family members leaned towards him. Although the Hua family had only more than 200 real combat power, it directly broke through the formation of more than 2,000 horse bandits, wounded more than 10 people, and none of them were killed. What Huakai didn't expect was that the horse bandits were defeated in the end, and more than 10,000 slaves came up to surround more than 1,000 horse bandits, and they were injured more than 200 and killed 80. This slave's combat power was indeed terrifyingly low. Huakai wanted to draw a part of the combat power from the slave battalions to form an elite team so that he could better deal with the next danger, but the last thought was forgotten. The main combat power of the slave team is drawn, and the combat power of the slave team will only be lower. It is easy to form a rout in real danger. This is the most terrible for the entire slave team. In this battle, the Hua family captured more than 800 horse thieves and more than 1,500 intact horses. The ability to have so many captives was entirely caused by the Shantian realm of Huakai. After the victory of the battle, many slaves saw Huakai's eyes. It's all worship, and the entire slave team has been Ascension loyal a lot. Loyalty value Ascension's entire slave team cohesively followed Ascension. At night, they set up tents faster than Ascension. For dinner, I ate barbecue. In this battle, thousands of dead and wounded horses were captured. Now all the wounded horses have been killed and piled up. At night, Huakai will give them to Shui Chen and Wushu. So much horse meat. Enough for everyone to eat for several days. Patriarch, a total of 1 BMW was seized, 597 steeds, 915 strong horses, and 32 horses. In addition, some weapons were seized. What should we do with these horse bandits? A patriarch came to Huakai and said, BMW, you feed them well. All the horses and below will be assigned to the slave team. More horses will help them to go faster. The captives should be held first. If there is a tribe to redeem, let them leave. Huakai said. The relationship between horse thieves, tribes and caravans in Linhu grassland has shown too many stories here, and Huakai doesn't want to change anything. Since these horse thieves are allowed to leave the Hua family, the prestige in this grassland will increase. In the future, their banner will be safer when they pass through here. The next day, the Wahia horse team continued to set off. Soon Huakai saw people dressed as tribal herders following them not far away, and Huakai asked Jading to come in contact. The other party is really from the surrounding tribes. They are entrusted to contact the Chinese caravan and ask about the possibility of redemption of the captives. Huakai handed this matter to Jading. Most of the more than 800 prisoners were in the body tempering realm. There were only about 200 people above the Kaiyuan realm, and the ransom was only a few thousand gold at most. The number of Huakai's direct descendants is too small, and in the future the family must play an increasing role in the Hua family. 47%. Chapter 268 North Mountain Bandit. The results of the negotiations came down quickly. More than 800 prisoners were redeemed, and the Hua family received 160 horses and 450 strong horses. These prisoners are worth the price here. The other side sent all the horses the next day, showing that these horse bandits were all from the tribe within 300 miles. In the next few days, the Wahia horse team encountered many horse bandits, but the other side saw them all avoiding them far away. There was no battle along the way, but the Wahia slave team was already familiar with the rhythm of rushing forward. Now there is no need for the Hua family members to manage. After each slave brigade has more than 100 horses, they can already use the surplus horses to bring more food and life supplies. Huakai only needs to prepare food for them every day, and nothing else. They take care of it. In these few days, with the help of members of the Chinese family, 14 battalion captains spontaneously formed their own emergency squadron. In case of danger, their emergency squadrons can provide protection to other squadrons and serve as slave squadron emergency squadrons. If there are slaves in the slave squadrons, these emergency squadrons are the whips to punish those who run away. After traveling east for 4 days, time has come to June 15th. Everyone walked for about 2,400 miles in half a month. After entering the Linhu grassland, the caravan could only travel about 100 miles at most because of the increase in the number of horse bandits. On this day, they saw a number of caravans doing business in various tribes in the northern Linhu grassland, and found that the number of caravans here was increasing. 2,000 miles south from here is the Aohan tribe. This area is generally the place with the largest number of caravans. Huakai saw many small caravans driving into small and medium tribes in exchange for a large number of cattle and sheep. There are small caravans here. Is the mainstream. Continue eastward and soon enter Donghu country. Donghu is different from other grassland countries. King Donghu has full rights to the entire country. It is very difficult for ordinary caravans to negotiate with Donghu. There are fewer caravans walking here in the border area. The tribes of Donghu generally go to their Donghu. The royal court exchanged life supplies. Of course, some tribes secretly traded with the Linhu tribe. There are often some East Hu cavalry patrols here. When they find that unauthorized caravans enter Donghu, all the goods will be confiscated. They also often deal with some merchants. Clashes between teams and tribes. Huakai knew that the East Hu state and many big families in the Yan state had long-term trade cooperation. They did not allow scattered caravans to enter the Donghu grassland area, and they had to cross Donghu more than 1,000 miles to return to Jialiu city this time. On the border between Donghu grassland and Linhu grassland, there are a large number of horse bandits and bandits. They are usually live in the mountain forest on the border between the two countries. The bandits and horse bandits here are all of the same size. They are not young. They often go deep into the Linhu grassland to rob caravans and even some tribes. They will withdraw to the mountains and forests when they are in danger. Even Lin Huguo and Donghaguo have nothing to do with them. Some people say that the horse bandits here are abandoned soldiers of Donghu, and some people say that these horse bandits belong to some big families in Yan. They formed these horse bandits to prevent other caravans from trading with countries north of Donghu. This let them earn a full pot every year. Huakai rode Lu into the mountain forest. This is the fastest business road from Linhuguo to Baoyuguan. Compared with Panlong 18th Bend, the mountain road here is much gentler, but Huakai is not at all dare to be careless. Several gray wolves kept staring at them from a distance, and there were more beasts here than on the grassland. Tell everyone to quicken their pace, that they must pass through this mountain forest one day today. Huakai said to Jading behind him. This road was the busiest commercial road long ago. In the end, because there were too many bandits and horse bandits, there were fewer and fewer people walking. However, some big business groups in Yan State often still pass through here. The Chinese family should think about it. To open up the trade road between Jialiu City and the Ordos tribe, this mountain forest cannot be bypassed. In the distance, there were people looking at them from a distance, and Huakai did not care, and ordered the 14th Slave Brigade to move forward. Finally they saw a flat grassland. Because there were so many trees, everyone took a rest under the shade of the horses, and then began to move on. He waited until the sun was about to set and the Wahia caravan was finally about to get out of this mountain forest. At this time, he saw more than 100 men and horses blocking their way forward. The Hua family members all looked at Huakai at the front of the team. If they were ambushed here, it would really be a big battle. Huakai motioned everyone to stay still, and he rode forward alone. Dear friends, please make it easy for the Wahia caravan to pass by. Huakai said while looking at the bandits in the distance. The prairie has the rules of the prairie, and we also have the rules of our own invasion. I think you dare to bring so many slaves and horses back. You are really courageous. Leave half of the horses and slaves and leave. It was a bushy Hudayan who looked like a leader. He walked out of the queue and came to Huakai and said, Half. I'm afraid there is no such rule in the entire grassland. We are the Wahia caravan in Jialiu County, and we may have a lot of places to interact in the future. This is probably not the way to get along with friends. Huakai checked the other party's attributes and turned out to be practice the aura of great perfection, knowing that this matter might not be so easy to handle. Gaolu County. From Yan Country. Gaolu County probably has no one for a long time. I have never heard of any Chinese family in Yan Country. Young man, I kindly advise you that this Baishan road is not so easy to walk, if you are willing to leave half of the slaves and horses, and I will let you go today, or else. You are not as simple as leaving half of the goods. The bandit leader said. So it seems. I can't be kind anymore today. Hua Kai said and looked at the thieves around him, 6 in the aura realm, and more than 20 in the aerodynamic realm. This road really wasn't that easy to follow. Haha, I'm waiting for you in front. You still have time to choose, Jialiu County Hua family. The thief leader sneered and left, and everyone from the Hua family came behind Hua Kai. Patriarch, what should we do now? Can't tell, Wuya. Our light cavalry arrived here only 2 days away. As long as we hold on for 2 days, they can't take us anyway. A family member came to Huakai's side said. The Wahia 500 elite Qingqi people are all golden silk soft armor, that is the family's trump card, and it takes only 2 days to get here from Jialiu County. This North Mountain Road may be more complicated than we thought. Waiting 2 more days may not be the trouble. I don't think there will be too many people in the other side's appearance, or it will not be possible to wait until now. Hua Kai said. At this time, the Wahia caravan had no time to exit the forest. The opposing party had a good opportunity to seize the opportunity. Now Huakai has only one way to go, and that is to quickly and forcefully pass through Baishan and enter the grassland. Entering the grassland, Wahia caravan has the advantage of horses. If the opponent has a small number of horses, it will not be able to cause too much damage to them. Huakai asked all the members of the Hua family to gather together and ordered the 14 slave brigades to follow the Wahia team with all their strength. Kill out. The Hua family caravan quickly moved. All the slaves tried their best to follow the Hua family to the northeast side. After passing Baishan, they entered the territory of Donghu country. These thieves might take care of Donghu country and dare not dare entangled with them for too long. Hua Kai rode forward slowly on Lu, and 271 members of the Hua family closely followed behind them. They could already see the blue sky thousands of meters away, and they would be able to walk another kilometer away. Enter the Donghu grassland. But the moving figures in the mountains and forests in front told everyone that it was not so easy to finish the last 1 kilometer. About 500 cavalrymen stood in front of them, and Hua Kai came to the opponent's 100 meters to stop the horse stance. The Bushihu bandit headed a BMW and looked at Huakai quietly. He saw that there were only more than 200 people in Huakai who appeared in the battle. There was a smile at the corner of his mouth. If they could win the Wahia caravan in this battle, their strength would surely be as good as the Ascension. Steps. Hua Kai looked at about 500 thieves riding horses in front of him. They were all of the body tempering realm and above the late stage strength. This was also a powerful force in all the horse bandits in the grassland. But Hua Kai smiled in his heart. He looked at the bandits ambushing in the surrounding mountains and forests. The number of bandits was no more than 3,000, and the other side put all the elites at the exit to stop them. Presumably the people ambushing on both sides are even as powerful as the Chinese slave team. Inferior, such strength dared to intercept oneself unexpectedly. Hua Kai slowly approached each other on horseback. Hua Kai used his eyes to communicate with the members of the Hua family around him. Everyone knew what he meant. He rode behind him and walked slowly behind him. Some people on the thief side thought that the Wahia caravan had to negotiate again. Everyone was waiting quietly, but when Huakai was only more than 10 meters away from the opponent, instead of stopping horse stance, he speeded up and rushed forward. Hua Jiading also rushed to see this place. Only then did the bandits know that the other party was going to fight. The bandit leader saw that Huakai dared to kill one person, and he did not dare to be careless. He summoned all the members of the Qi training realm to kill Huakai. Once contact between the two parties, there will be one training. The aura thief died, and the thief knew that he might be in trouble this time. Hua Kai knew that only by quickly dispelling the more than 500 elite thieves in front of him, the Hua family slave brigade could quickly leave this mountain forest. Rumor has it that there are more than 100,000 horse bandits and bandits between Donghu and Linhu, and he dare not stay here for too long. More than a dozen people besieged Huakai, and some bandits turned to Lu under his crotch. As long as the horse was killed, even the strength of the Shantian realm would be greatly reduced, but they did not expect Lu to be a magic horse. It and everyone's attacks were blocked by an energy shield. Many thieves and bandits had begun to retreat when they heard that some bandits almost fell off their horses. Regardless of the surrounding attacks, Wakai saw the thief who negotiated with him and killed him with all his strength. The opponent was stabbed and dismissed with only 3 moves. After possessing the second layer of ice force, Wakai True Chi, all of them have the effect of ice slowing, and there is no other willpower to contend with him. It is difficult to go through the 3 moves under his hands. 47%. Chapter 269, The Role of Shantian Realm. No one had expected Huakai's powerful thieves, and they had never thought about the leader of On, a master of Qi training Zochin, who would be killed as soon as they met. Wakai took a lot of opponents to practice aura attack. Despite the protection of the Shantian True Chi energy shield, his whole body still felt sore. Seeing that the leader of the thief was dead, he quickly shot out True Chi and injected his full strength into silver gun inside. He pierced the chest of the nearest Qi training thief. Silver bright spear pulled out of the opponent's body, through a spear shot, and another Qi training thief died under his horse. Wakai killed 2 of the opponent's 2 training realms in less than a minute, but the opponent's will to fight is still strong. Hua Jia Ding has already killed them, and all the bandits on both sides of the forest have also been killed. The slave teams have already been with them. All killed together. Wakai only felt like a reef on the seashore. The infinite waves attacked him from a distance. While responding to the attack, he quickly collected the name of the opponent. After more than 10 minutes, he suddenly felt the pressure around him. Weakened, everyone in the Hua family had already killed behind him. Wakai led the members of the Hua family on horseback and charged forward. He saw an aura training thief who seemed to be retreating. He commanded Lu to leap into the air, and soon caught up with the aura training thief, that one. The thief then let out an unwilling roar, and died under Wakai's silver spear. At this time, he found that there were not many thieves around him. Breaking through 500 defenses of thieves and bandits, Wakai saw that bandits had begun to retreat. This North Mountain bandit had the strongest fighting will ever seen by the Hua family. It was not weaker than the elite army of some countries, and killed more than 10 in a row. From behind, the gang of thieves had already begun to flee, and within a few minutes of escaping, it became a rout. Wakai chased these thieves all the way out of the forest. This time, the 500 elite bandits suffered heavy losses, and probably only less than 100 people escaped from the forest. Those bandits who were still fighting with the Wahia slave team also hurried back when they saw this place. The captains of the slave brigade did not dare to let everyone chase it too far. The fighting lasted for less than an hour, and they had all left the forest. Patriarch, the other side suffered 1,000 casualties, and there were more than 100 prisoners. We have suffered a lot. What should we do now? A patron came to Wakai and asked. Clean the battlefield quickly, and then leave the forest area. Those prisoners. Kill them all. Wakai thought for a while and said. These bandits are different from the horse bandits on the grassland. The horse bandits on the grassland are wolves, and they are tigers. Leaving them will only hurt more people. In this battle, more than 400 war horses were captured, and the Hua family lost more than 300 war horses. 30 people were seriously injured and 4 of the members of Jiading were killed. The slave team suffered little loss, with fewer than 10 people killed in action. Wakai watched the 14 slave brigade rushing past him one by one. He waited for all the slaves to leave and then followed the caravan to the east. After walking for more than 2 hours, the horses really didn't have any strength. Hua Jiasheng the team stopped and camped on the spot. The 20 cavalrymen of the Hua family scattered 10 miles away to monitor whether there was a horse team chasing them. The slave team members also arranged patrols to pay attention to the surrounding area after dinner. If the horse bandits were found to resist immediately on the spot. Wakai entered the own tent and came to the family secret realm space to tell the family left behind personnel in the space and let them inform Wushu Huazichan to send someone to Bao Yuguan to meet them. He has a hunch that the road home will not be so smooth this time. The country of Yan used to be bounded by the Leopard Jade Pass with the country of Donghu. This time the entire Jialiu County can be ceded to the country of Qi. Perhaps it is not that simple. In the middle of the night, the family patrol member told Huakai that horse bandit investigators had appeared behind him. The other party saw that the Huakai caravan was on alert and retreated. At dawn, 100 horse bandit investigators entered the guard zone within 10 miles of the Hua family caravan. The Hua family members fought with them. The opponent left several corpses and retreated. Some of the Hua family members were also injured. Wakai frowned when he heard the news. I'm afraid it won't be so easy to be good this time. The other party dared to investigate the Wahia caravan so deeply, he must be ready to attack. I am afraid that a large number of horse bandits will catch up by dawn. He can't wait any longer. He asked the family members to collect all the slave canteens, fill all the canteens with spiritual liquid, and ensure that each slave team can have a pot of spiritual liquid. The slave could not fight a tough battle. If the opponent chased him, he could only use more than 200 people to stop the opponent from chasing, and the slave brigade quickly escaped. The order went down soon. The slave group who had received the liquid had already packed their tents after breakfast, and started riding a horse to the east quickly. Huakai and other family members were waiting here, seeing that the last slave group had disappeared. In the night sky, he only breathed a sigh of relief. 1 hour later, Hautian lighted up, and a horse bandit investigation team came to the Wa family a kilometer away, and they did not entangle with the Wa family. When someone chased them, they began to wander. Wa Kai saw that all of these scout cavalry were riding horses, and their strength was above Kaiyuan realm, and he knew that the opposing force would soon be able to catch up. The sun rose, and the slave team sent people to tell the Huakai team that they had driven hundreds of miles. They used the spirit liquid to drive with all their strength. There was no problem driving 400 miles a day today. Wa Kai couldn't help but feel worried when he heard this. If another horse bandit team with thousands of people appeared on the grassland, the tens of thousands of slave teams were probably not opponents, then the entire slave team would be in danger. Enter the family secret realm space and tell Wushu to quickly send someone to support him. The 200 Chinese cavalry can do too little, even if he has the strength of the Shantian realm. Waiting until noon, Wa Kai saw a cavalry force appearing in the west, the number of which was about 500. He mounted his horse and led the Wahia cavalry to kill the opponent. The opponent fought with the Wahia cavalry and began to retreat when he felt that he was not an opponent. Kai didn't dare to chase too much when he saw this place, and followed them far behind. Soon following the direction in which the horse bandits fled, Wa Kai saw thousands of cavalry from the west rushing in their direction. These 500 men were just their vanguard. Stopping the horse, Wa Kai took a closer look at the enemy's strength. The opponent is less than 5,000 cavalry, and there are probably more than 10 square formations. This should be the gathering of more than 10 horse bandits. More than 200 people from the Wa family quietly watched them slowly approaching, and they all waited. Huakai instructions. Supplement all the horses with green fodder, and then feed liquor. Today we have a good game with them. Wa Kai looked at the horse bandits running in the distance and said to the Wa family behind him. After Wa Jia Ding heard this, he felt that his blood was boiling, and 200 men and horses dealt with 5,000 cavalry. This time, as long as he survived, he could brag for a lifetime. The distance between the two sides was getting closer and closer. When the distance between the two sides was only more than 2,000 meters, Wa Kai saw a group of thousands of cavalry from the other side killing him. He and everyone from the Wa family mounted their horses and waited until the distance between the two sides was only 5. At a distance of more than 100 meters, the Wahia cavalry retreated to the north. Wa Kai rode on Lu quickly, and everyone in the Wa family also controlled the speed of the horse. When the opponent was only 100 meters away from them, Wa Kai saw that the opponent had left the group by more than 2,000 meters, and he signaled the Chinese cavalry slowed down, and the other chaser thought that the prey could not move, and shouted at them together. Wa Kai walked at the end of the Wahia cavalry. Seeing that the 3 leading auras of the opponent had caught up, Wa Kai stared at them and stopped the horse stance suddenly and killed the opponent. When everyone in the Wa family saw this place, they slowed down horse stance and killed him. Wa Kai paired up with the others 3 auras and quickly killed one of them. The other 2 people saw this place before they had time to escape and were killed by Wa Kai. One person, the last one in the remaining Qi training realm, realized that Wa Kai was actually in the Shantian realm, and hurriedly fled to the center of his cavalry formation. Wa Kai commanded the Lu to catch up with the opponent quickly and killed the opponent in the horse thieves group. At this time, the Wahia cavalry had all come into contact with the opponent. Wa Kai saw that the horse bandits started to separate hundreds of people on both sides to outflank them, so he quickly returned to the team and let the others quickly get out of the battle. The horse thief was hunting and chasing for more than 10 minutes. The opponent killed more than 300 people and all 3 of them were dead. There was no way to use the Wahia cavalry. Huakai saw their right-wing team running a little fast. So, they seized the opportunity to kill them on the right wing, and soon some people from the horse bandits began to fall off their horses. At this time, the horse bandits also saw that they could not catch up to the 200 Wahia cavalry, and only a brief contact with the Wahia Shantian realm and 12 Chi training realms could give them a devastating blow, so their chasing footsteps increased. The slower, and the Wahia cavalry also slowed down at this time, seemingly waiting for the opponent to chase. Regardless of the Wahia cavalry, they began to turn their heads and walk back, because they had suffered more than 400 casualties in a while, and the 1,000-man cavalry regiment lost a fraction of it in a short while. If they were consumed with the Wahia cavalry, they would not be eaten by the other party. Light. The Chinese cavalry have also tasted the benefits of such a battle. They are riding good steeds under their hips, and the enemy can't catch up with them. The horse bandits have a mixture of steeds and strong horses, and some people even ride shovel horses. When chasing, the opponent will inevitably spread away and become scattered due to the different speeds, so they began to chase the enemy and run slowly. The cavalry came to kill. When the opposing group turned their heads, the Wahia cavalry turned and left the battle, not giving them a chance to bite their own. With the Shantian of Huakai, and 12 of the Hua clan, it couldn't be easier to do this. After hunting for more than 10 miles, when the 1,000-man and horse bandit saw the main force of the owner, he almost cried. More than 1,000 of them chased the 200 cavalrymen of the Hua family. The opponent did not lose one person, but only 300 people were left. If it's not that they flee quickly, the 300 of them will also be eaten up. The horse bandit regiment saw the Wahia cavalry chasing its own people, and its thousands of horsemen lost so much at a time, and another group of thousands of cavalry came to them. 48%. Chapter 270 The Power of Guerrilla Warfare. Everyone in Huakai has adapted to this fighting rhythm. They were not afraid at all when they saw another 1,000 people sent by the other side. When the other side was only a kilometer away from themselves, they gave up chasing the last 300 horse bandits and began to retreat. Escape. They did not escape very quickly. Seeing that the other party was more than 2 kilometers away from the horse bandit brigade, they slowed down and waited for Huakai's attack. Wakai saw that the horse team had 7 Chi training realms, and ordered everyone to stay away from him. He deliberately let the opponent catch up with him. After killing the other 2 Chi training realms, he rode Luma quickly again. Withdrawing from the enemy's encirclement, and then following the Wahia cavalry, they began to look for the opportunity to kill the opponent's aura. 2 times in a row, Wakai attacked and killed the 4 opponents in the Chi training realm. The opponent stopped horse stance and dared not chase them anymore. They divided the thousands of cavalry into 3 teams, trying to entangle the Wahia cavalry and then wipe them out at once. This just caught the minds of the Chinese cavalry. They only looked at the fastest horse team that was able to run. They quickly left after 1 bite. Seeing that they had suffered more than 200 casualties, they gave up chasing just like the cavalry team at the beginning. Start to return. The Wahia cavalry began to look for new targets again, slowly tearing a piece of meat from the opponent, until the opponent found that the Wahia cavalry had nothing to do, and the loss had already exceeded more than 300 men and horses. Wakai chased the horse bandits 1 kilometer away on horseback and stopped moving. He saw that the other party hadn't sent anyone to chase them this time, knowing that the other party could not be separated again. They originally had nearly 5,000 troops in just over 2 hours, and only 3,000 were left. If this continues, they have consumed the Hua's more than 200 cavalry without catching up with the Hua's slave team, but at this time they have lost so much. It was impossible for them to give up, so their more than 3,000 troops were united and not separated, completely ignoring the provocative Chinese cavalry on the side. The Huakai cavalry slowly approached the opponent. When the distance between the 2 sides was only about 500 meters, the Wahia cavalry fled to the side. After the opponent chased for a kilometer, they found that they could not catch up and went back. The Wahia cavalry followed. The horse bandits were impatient. He had nothing to do with the dogskin plaster-like playstyle of the Wahia cavalry. When Wakai approached the opponent again, he found that the opponent had sent more than a dozen Chi training states. This was just right, to his intention. How could the Shantian realm with the god horse be afraid of being entangled in the Chi training realm? After the opponent chased more than 2,000 meters and lost 5 Chi training realms again, he did not dare to send someone to pursue it again. The Wahia cavalry began to provoke when they approached the opponent 200 meters away. The opponent saw that the cavalry team could only be separated to double team. Wakai saw that the opponent outflanked the team too far away from the horse bandit group, and he caught the opponent by mistake and killed the opponent's 100 people. By the time the Wahia cavalry had lost less than 10 people, all of these sacrifices were made by Wa Kai, who was too provocative and entangled by the opponent. When they arrived here, the horse bandits began to completely ignore the Wahia cavalry. They put all their hatred on the Wahia slave team 60 miles away. All the horse bandits thought that they must be slaughtered in order to catch up with the slave team. Hate in the heart. But how could the Wahia cavalry make you run so fast? If you go fast, the distance between the horse teams will inevitably be widened. The Wahia cavalry saw the opportunity to go up, and they fled again when the other cavalry of the horse bandit regiment arrived. In the end, the horse bandits could only jog slowly. The Huakai cavalry saw the opponent's appearance and dismounted 2 kilometers away from them to supplement the horses with some green fodder and spirit liquid. Gathering together and not parting at all, just move forward slowly like this. By now, the Wahia cavalry all felt that they were horse bandits, and the opponent was too frightened to move forward but walked only 20 miles per hour, so that they could not even keep up with the speed of the slave brigade. I was anxious until the afternoon. After being attacked by the Wahia cavalry at a faster speed several times, the opponent had no idea of quickly catching up with the Wahia slave brigade. They still have about 3,000 cavalry. Those 10,000 slaves could not be their opponents. The Chinese cavalry all ate their noon food right away. The horse bandits rode out 500 meters away from the horse bandit regiment and watched them stop and cook at the fire, hoping that the other party could reveal their flaws again under the sudden impulse. The horse bandits finally learned how to behave. They ignored the provocation of the Wahia cavalry. The Wahia only dared to rush into their queue with 200 men and horses in search of death. When the Chinese cavalry saw this place, they stopped by the horse bandit group and dismounted to rest. The two sides ignored each other and seemed very harmonious. In the afternoon, the Wahia cavalry began to watch the horse bandits move forward slowly. Both sides also knew the other's methods. The horse bandits did not speed up, and the Wahia cavalry did not speed up. They waited until it was dark and Huakai saw each other. It finally stopped. Even though the Wahia cavalry had constantly replenished their physical strength all day long, everyone was exhausted. Seeing the family members lying on horsebacks tired and unwilling to get up, Huakai knew that everyone needed a rest. The horse bandits are even more tired than the Wahia cavalry. They don't have the spiritual fluid and they can only rely on their will to persist. When the sun has just set, they start to make a fire and cook. Huakai knows that they can no longer attack today, so they take the Wahia cavalry drove in the direction of the slave brigade. The slave brigade has traveled more than 400 miles today. When the Wa family came back, they had already set up tents and rested. Many of them only had the strength of the aura. It is difficult for ordinary people to accept such a high-intensity march. At this time, the horse bandits, the group is about 100 miles away from the Wahia slave brigade. All the members of the Wa family are very satisfied with today's performance. More than 200 of them killed more than 2,000 of each other, and their casualties were less than 10. Tomorrow, follow today's method for another day, and they will be close to Baoyuguan. At that time, Hua Zichen's support will be coming soon. Huakai sent several teams of slaves to ride horses to monitor the movement of the horse bandit group. It stands to reason that the other party should give up and continue to hunt down at this level. Today, there have been scout cavalry around the slave group. On the second day, the slave investigation team reported the loss of more than 30 men and horses last night. Although these slaves rode horses, their equestrian skills were too far from the horse bandits. Ko Zonghuakai learned that the horse bandits went out last night with many personnel, and it is very likely that they had gone to ask for rescuers. The anxiety in Wakai's heart is even heavier when I hear it. Yesterday's horse bandits may no longer be the main opponent of the Wa family. They may really have strong reinforcements. Huakai brought more than 200 family cavalry soldiers, and what he can do now is to speed up the march. The closer they are to Baoyuguan, the safer they will be. Feed all the horses with elixir. After confirming that all the slave teams have enough elixir to replenish their stamina today, Huakai distributed small return pill and rejuvenating pill to more than 200 family members. Before dawn, the slave brigade packed up the tent and started on the road. Huakai led the Wahia cavalry behind the slave brigade. His premonition told him that it is safer to get closer to Baoyuguan now, and all the slaves throw unnecessary luggage. Everyone rushed towards the direction of Baoyuguan with all their strength. By daybreak, the Wahia slave brigade had already rushed for more than 80 miles. With the help of spirit liquid, even the horses did not show signs of exhaustion. When the sun rose, they had already traveled for more than 200 miles. At this time, Hua Jia Ding came to Hua Kai. Patriarch, I found that there are many scout cavalry in the north of the caravan, and many of our horses can't hold on. Jiading came to Hua Kai and said, send 100 people to the north to check. When encountering a brigade, they will report back as soon as possible. Let the slaves throw away all the horses. Rest for 10 minutes and feed the horses with elixir. 10 minutes later, continue to move forward. Hua Kai whispered. The sense of crisis in my heart is getting stronger and stronger. There is still more than 400 miles away from Baoyu Pass. If they give up all the horses, they are completely hopeful that they will rush to the vicinity of Baoyu Pass today, and then they will be safe. The slaves also know the danger they are facing now. They have experienced the life of being a slave in the grassland. Now they finally see a new hope. How can they be captured by the grassland horse bandits again? They have heard that the horse bandits are more hateful than those tribal herders, and the lives of slaves are like weeds in their eyes. Abandoning hundreds of horses, these are all Hua Kai captured by the Wahia caravan along the way. It doesn't feel distressed. The perseverance of the slaves is much stronger than Hua Kai imagined. Some female slaves who are inexperienced in horsemanship are physically weak and endure forcibly. Hua Kai saw many people falling off their horses. As long as they were seriously injured, they continued to mount and follow the large forces. At noon, the sun rose, and it was too hot to bear. Hua Kai then ordered everyone to stop and rest. While he asked people to send the tent to the slave brigade, he also asked people to continue to feed the horses elixir. They still needed to hurry up in the afternoon. Hua Kai took the horse meat from Jiading, and as soon as he ate 2 bites, he saw a member of the Hua family hurriedly ran out of his account. Patriarch, it's not good. There are 5,000 cavalry soldiers coming in our direction from the north, and now they are only more than 30 miles away from me. Send someone to check again. Don't easily fight with the other party. Let the slave brigade get on the horse after lunch. Don't need to close the tent. Seize the time to continue on the road. Hua Kai whispered. Everything was similar to what he expected. He was relieved to hear that there were cavalry soldiers from the north who had come to Hua Kai. The 5,000 people from the other side were still rushing on the road in such a hot day. This was completely beyond the reach of ordinary horse bandits. Watching the 14 slave brigade leave one by one, Hua Kai felt a little relieved. The horse bandits who fought with them yesterday should not be far away from them. They only asked for the horses and slaves who had taken the spirit liquid. Can hold on a little longer. Now they are less than 300 miles away from the Leopard Jade Pass, and hope that the way they dealt with the horse bandits yesterday can delay the footsteps of today's chasing soldiers. Hua Kai gathered all the members of the Hua family together, and everyone was not at all comfortable. They talked about the cooperation of guerrilla warfare. They believed that as long as Hua Kai was lost to them, they could easily escape. 48%. Chapter 271 Donghu Cavalry. For more than 10 minutes after the Wahia slave brigade left, Hua Kai saw the cavalry from the northern skyline slowly approaching. They were not very fast, but they were neatly formed and he couldn't find the slightest flaw after seeing it. Hua Kai couldn't help being cautious. He mounted his horse and led the Wahia cavalry to rush towards the opponent. After getting closer to the opponent sent 500 cavalry to greet them. The Wahia cavalry began to turn and leave when the opponent approached. They wanted to be as slow as yesterday. Slowly cannibalize each other. However, this cavalry team seemed not to be fooled at all. They did not rush or slow down. Even if Hua Kai was only a few meters away from them, they were all overwhelmed as a whole. They did not chase or encircle them separately. For a time, the Wahia cavalry actually took it. There is no way for the other party. When Hua Kai saw this place, he decided to test it personally. He slowed down horse stance and waited until the opponent came close. When the distance between the two sides was less than 5 meters, the opponent couldn't help it. Several cavalry came to kill him together. Hua Kai saw a total of 5 opponents. In the Qi training realm, one of them has reached the late stage of the Qi training realm. When he saw the opponent leaving the team 5 meters away, he suddenly turned and killed the opponent. Although the opponent didn't expect the sudden killer move, he didn't panic at all. The late stage of the aura that was attacked didn't mean to escape at all. He condensed his whole body with true Qi to defend, and all other auras were facing Hua. Go kill. Hua Kai saw that all his retreats were blocked by the 4 Qi training realms. Yin Liang Spear tried his best to kill the strongest opponent. As a result, all the 4 Qi training realm attacks fell on him. One blow severely injured the late stage of Qi training. Wakai's whole body of true Qi resisted 90% of the opponent's attack, and the remaining 10% was also resisted by a large part of purple golden ice silkworm armor. In this way, he also felt a burst of chest tightness, these cavalrymen. Even the art of combined blows. Only the elites in the regular army can combine the attack. This requires long-term cooperation between the soldiers. Wakai saw that regardless of the four attacking here, he quickly drew his gun and continued to the opponent's aura in the late stage. On the kill, the late stage of the Qi Lian was seriously injured and slow to act. After Wakai dealt with him with a single shot, the other four made a killer move. Wakai received 4 more heavy blows to his body, feeling a suffocation in his chest. He roared true Qi and shook the 4 people back and killed one of them. The early stage could not withstand his full blow. Was killed. The other 3 people killed him again. At this time, the enemy army had already begun to attack. Regardless of this, Wakai had caught up with a Qi training realm and took his life. At this time, dozens of cavalry had surrounded him. Most of these ordinary soldiers are only in the Kaiyuan realm. Wakai killed for a while and saw that these soldiers were not afraid of death. Although he was not afraid of the opponent's attack, true Qi would consume a lot of money. He rode Lu and jumped to Wa. The home cavalry went in the direction. Out of the enemy cavalry formation, although Wakai killed 3 opponents in the Qi training realm just now, he was not happy at all. This cavalry team are all veterans who have been on the regular battlefield. They don't give the Chinese cavalry a chance at all, and it is not very useful to break into the opposing lineup. If this is the case, it will be difficult. These 500 cavalrymen did not rush or slow down, and kept chasing the Wahia cavalry. Even if they knew it was impossible to catch up, they didn't mean to stop. When they arrived here, the Wahia cavalry began to be a little anxious. Patriarch, their main army chased our slave brigade. A Chinese cavalry said worriedly. Although the enemy cavalry is not fast, it is much faster than the slave battalion. If it is not stopped, the Chinese slave battalion will be overtaken for at most an hour. But the Wahia cavalry can't even use the 500 cavalry in front of them, so what can they do to obstruct the opponent's main force? If you fight a hard fight with these 500 cavalry now, Huakai is confident to defeat the opponent, but the 200-odd Wahia team members are estimated to fall by half, so how much trouble can the remaining more than 100 people cause to the opponent? After Wakai took a return Qi pill, he felt his spiritual Qi recover quickly. He tried to chase the soldiers behind him again, but only killed more than 30 opponents. The Wahia cavalry did not care about their lives. They had to entangle them, which instead broke 2 Chinese cavalrymen. To fight with this elite cavalry, to defeat the opponent is generally only hard work, and they rarely find flaws in them. Seeing Huakai here, everyone was already a little panicked. They broke away from each other's entanglement, and they all looked at Huakai and waited for him to give an order. Don't get entangled with them. Let's harass their main force. This cavalry must be an elite force of the East Hu country and cannot fight hard. Give the slave team more opportunities to escape. Our support force will soon arrive. Wakai comforted everyone. In fact, Huakai knew that Wushu's support did not come so quickly. They built the Great Wall to protect the people of Yan State in the northeast of Jialiu County. It is more than 500 miles away from Jialiu City and more than 600 miles away from Baoyuguan. It is the least necessary to get here. It will take 2 days, and they will have to hold on until this afternoon at least. The Chinese cavalry got rid of the entanglement. Their horses were still better than their counterparts. There was 1 Shantian realm and 12 Qi training realms, and it was basically impossible for the opponent to bite them. After chasing the enemy's leading unit, the opponent steadily moved forward and separated 500 cavalry to continue chasing. The Wahia cavalry began to retreat again. When they took the opponent to a kilometer away, Wakai killed the opponent's 2 Qi training realms. Continue to get rid of the entanglement and come to the opponent's vanguard. Everyone in the Wa family knows that this effect is very small. The enemy army is less than 20 miles away from the Wa family slave team. Although the opponent has lost a lot of Qi training realms, they were all killed by Huakai with the strength of the Shantian realm. Reduce the opponent's marching speed, so that the Chinese slave brigade will be overtaken for at most an hour. Wakai once again got rid of the opponent's 500 cavalry chase and came to the side of the opposing Shantian cavalry array. The opposing cavalry couldn't help getting closer to each other when they saw here. The marching speed slowed down slightly. The Wahia cavalry can only do this now. Seeing that the opponent was chasing by 500 cavalry, Wakai saw the front of the enemy's generals in silver armor. He looked at the opponent with real eyes and found that the opponent was in the Shantian realm, and there were more than 20 chi training realms behind him. They deliberately slowed down. This was to lure Huakai to kill him, because they also saw that this team of more than 200 people was actually harassing themselves by the Shantian state of Huakai, and they had already lost nearly 10 talents. Environment. Wakai couldn't help but move his mind when he saw this. This may be his only hope for solving the immediate crisis. The other party thought of tempting himself to attack and kill him, then could he seize the opportunity to kill the opponent's leader. If it could kill the opponent, then this cavalry army might give up chasing and killing the slave brigade, and Wakai couldn't stop thinking about it here. He told everyone in the Wa family not to turn around to rescue themselves no matter what happened later, and to harass the opponent's cavalry team as much as possible to reduce the pressure on themselves. Don't let the opponent stick. If the opponent sticks, they will have more than 4,000 people left. There is no doubt that more than 200 of them will die. Take out a shocking ice soul pill from the portable space and put it in your mouth. This is an ice attribute 7-level treasure pill. After taking it, true chi recovers 3 times faster and quickly recovers from injuries. It also has an effect on mental recovery. It is generally used for life-saving in emergencies and is worth more than 10,000 gold. Seeing that the opponent was only more than 10 meters away from him, the enemy Shantian realm had already injected true chi into the crotch BMW to urge it to accelerate. Wakai saw that he was more than 10 meters away from the cavalry behind him. He knew that this opportunity was not easy. In the broken mouth, shocking ice soul pill turned around with a carbine to kill the opponent. The opponent was already prepared for the Shantian realm. He held Wakai Yin Liang spear with a long knife in his hand, and didn't want Wakai to escape. Wakai saw this and turned around and continued to kill. Although he had no effect in his previous blow, the ice force had already taken effect, and the opponent's reaction had been reduced. There was still a chance to take advantage of the distance between the opponent and his rear teammates. If you wait, more than 20 practitioners came up behind the opponent, and the chance of killing the opponent was small. The opponent's Shantian realm did not expect that Wakai seemed to be only 20 years old. Not to mention becoming a Shantian realm, he could still master the special power of the will of heaven and earth. He felt that he was slowed down by the force of ice, but he was also confident to entangle Wakai. But everything that followed was beyond his expectation. Wakai Yin Liang gun attacked his vitals with guns, but he didn't care about the defense at all. He had no choice but to exchange injuries with each other, and the two of them hardened each other. Both heavy blows have been injured. Wakai felt that he had a blood stasis in his chest, but he didn't vomit and was unhappy. When they met each other, they directly used the strongest killer move. The other party wanted to keep him, and he also wanted the other's life. It's just that this feeling is only a moment. He feels a chill coming from his body, the damage he has suffered seems to have been fully recovered, and the true chi he has just consumed is also quickly recovering, no matter if the opponent's 20 or more chi training realms have been killed. When he arrived, Wakai continued to carry his gun to the opponent's Shantian realm. The opponent did not expect that Wakai was so badly injured and still had the strength to continue the attack. He began to defend with all his strength. His comrades behind him had already caught up. There were more than 20 trainers to help. He didn't believe he could not win Wakai. Several long spears stabbed at Wakai at the same time. They completely blocked Wakai's possible retreat, but Wakai ignored all this and tried to continue to kill the opponent's leader. Shantian true chi exploded with all strength. Wakai surrounded a true chi cover and quickly dissipated. This time half of his true chi was used. His long spear thrust used the opponent's Shantian arm, and the opponent's arm was cold before the blood flowed out. Ice force solidified. Watching the enemy forces have surrounded him, he felt that the true chi that he had just consumed had recovered a little and a half in an instant. This life-shocking soul pill was really strong, so he didn't have to worry about true at all. Chi's rapid consumption. Under the effect of his SS level talent, his true chi recovery speed has reached a terrifying level. 48%. Chapter 272 The Luma Talent Trigger. The East Hu cavalry did not expect that Wakai would be so desperate, nor that his true chi would be so sufficient. Wakai continued to use true chi to attack strongly, and was able to defend the combined attack of the opponent's multiple training chi. Wakai saw that the opponent's Shantian realm had been injured, and he and the Luma had the same heart and pursued the opponent with all their strength, regardless of the more than 20 chi practicing realms around him. The Donghu Shantian leader also seemed to feel his own life crisis, and quickly withdrew to the rear of the horse team. Hua Kai has been injured by a number of Qi training attacks. If he doesn't want to evacuate, his life is likely to be in danger. But when he sees the opponent's Shantian realm retreat, all the enemy cavalry is coming to him, and his legs are clamped. The horse body, the Lu suddenly jumped into the air, and directly chased in the direction of the enemy leader. This kind of bloody scene stunned all the East Hu cavalry, and the legendary military giant who took the lead in the army was no more than that. Hua Kai leapt into the air and escaped the siege of all the enemies, but Lu Ma left his abdomen to the enemy, and saw Ne and true Qi suddenly erupted around it. Hua Kai seemed to feel that the power of the will of heaven and earth was disturbed. The Luma finally triggered his talent. The Luma, in addition to the talent for temporarily increasing speed, there is also the talent for combat power when the owner is under siege, which can only be triggered under special conditions. Hua Kai only felt that Lu Ma had become lighter in the air, and a powerful true Qi passed into his body from Lu Ma, and his meridians felt a little pain. In a blink of an eye, the Luma flew past the Shantian realm of Donghu, and was already in front of him when he landed. Hua Kai silver spear all true Qi broke out, and split air spear directly hit the 10th move. Although the opponent's military commander resisted stubbornly, Hua Kai shot through his chest. Seeing the other party's death, Hua Kai felt that true Qi in his body was turbulent and unhappy. He picked up his gun and killed the Donghu cavalry around him. Wherever he went, the Donghu cavalry fell. At this time, the leader of the Shantian state of Donghu was killed, and the entire East Hu cavalry did not retreat at all. More than 20 people from the Qi training state came from all directions, and they wanted to avenge the leader of On. If you look from a high altitude, you will find that in a large circle in the depths of Hua Kai, more than 400 Donghu cavalry soldiers besieged him in the middle, and Hua Kai has continued to fall down with Donghu cavalry. Outside of the loop, the Wahia cavalry continued to eat away at the Donghu cavalry. A member of the Wahia Qi training realm late stage saw Hua Kai being surrounded, and was anxious to rush in to save others. Did you not hear the Patriarch say? No matter what happens, we don't care about him. Even if the Patriarch Shantian is invincible, it is easy for him to fly out of the battle circle with a magic horse. If we enter the battle ring, the Patriarch save us, said a cavalry of the Wahia cavalry in the Qi training realm next to him. Everyone feels right to hear this. Some people know that Hua Kai has the ability to hide in the family secret realm space, so they concentrate on hunting the lone Donghu cavalry outside. The East Hu cavalrymen did not expect that Hua Kai would have such a lethal power. It was just over 10 minutes that Hua Kai had already killed nearly 200 Donghu cavalrymen, of which there were more than 10 in the Qi training stage. The Wahia cavalry also eroded nearly 100 people on the periphery. The more than 500 Donghu cavalrymen were killed by them in just a while. At this time, the main force of the Donghu cavalry in the distance finally saw something wrong. They sent another 1,000 people to support Hua Kai, but Hua Kai didn't care about these. As long as he was not seriously injured in an instant, his internal injuries would recover quickly, and true Qi continued to flow. These Qi training levels were fundamental to him, not a threat. The Chinese cavalry saw the arrival of thousands of people from the other side and hurriedly retreated, continuing to look for opportunities in the periphery. Even if the East Hu cavalry gritted their teeth hate them, there was nothing to do. After killing another half an hour, Hua Kai felt that Luma's actions seemed to start to slow down, and he knew that Luma's talent skill time was about to pass. In this half an hour, he beheaded and killed the enemy army for 500, but the Donghu cavalry continued to kill him, as if they were trying to exhaust him. If you use 500 elite cavalry to kill a Shantian state, Donghu cavalry is not a loss, but Hua Kai is now in an invincible state, and it is difficult to stop him even in the Shantian state. A total of 1,500 East Hu cavalry soldiers have lost more than half so far, and more than 3,000 of the main East Hu cavalry have disappeared. At this time, another horse team appeared in the west, with more than 3,000 people. Yesterday's pursuit of the own horse bandit group also caught up. NS. There was no point in entanglement anymore. Hua Kai signaled Lu Ma to vacate from the Donghu cavalry siege, only to see Lu Ma leap into the air with ease, and fell out of the encirclement within a few steps. The East Hu cavalry began to hesitate when they saw this place. They began to line up again but did not chase Hua Kai again. The Hua Jia cavalry saw this place and all came behind Hua Kai. Patriarch, are you okay? A patron saw Hua Kai's clothes broken and blood stains all over his body. Lu Ma also suffered multiple injuries on his body, with blood spilling from the wound under his belly, and said worriedly at Hua Kai, "I'm okay. Today, we and Dong Hu Guo are feuded. The other party's loss of Ashantian will definitely not let us go. Our slave team may have been overtaken by them. Let's catch up with the slave team. How much can we save? How many people are? This hatred will be calculated slowly in the future." Hua Kai turned his head and stared at the north, where is the direction of Donghu King Court. Give Luma a rejuvenating pill. Hua Kai saw that its injury has begun to improve. Although he looks embarrassed, but it has the effect of life-shocking ice soul pill, he is actually not injured. Ignoring the remaining 700 cavalrymen, the Chinese cavalrymen must rush back before the 3,000 horse bandits can catch up with the slave brigade, and try to give more slaves a chance to escape. The horses of the Chinese cavalry are very fast. Even if they haven't rested for a day today, they still seem alive with the liquid supplement. As he walked forward, Hua Kai couldn't help but feel heavier in his heart. From time to time, there were scattered horses running around on the road, and some slave bodies were lying on the side of the road. He led the Wahia cavalry forward for more than 10 miles and saw the front. There is a sound of fighting. The entire East Hu cavalry was massacring the Wahia slave team. They collectively charged against the Wahia slaves. The unarmed slaves fell off their horses. They stopped for a while after every charge, and then followed the slave team and continued to charge. Hua Kai saw that the slave squadrons were all the slave squadrons of the slave squadrons. They protected the other slaves to evacuate quickly. At this moment, Hua Kai suddenly felt that these slaves were very cute. Lu Ma, the talent skill time has passed, but he is still a magical horse, and Hua Kai did not imagine the period of weakness coming, but he appeared to be more brave than before. Hua Kai led the Wahia cavalry past the Donghu cavalry and came to the back of the slave team. All the slaves cheered happily when they saw them coming back. However, the Wahia cavalry was deeply guilty in their hearts. They were unable to rescue the slaves. If they dared to step forward, they would be entangled and eaten by the opponent. Without the strength to fight against it, the best way is to run away. "Patriarch, what shall we do?" Hua Jia Ding said anxiously as he watched the East Hu cavalry continue to slaughter Hua's slaves at a distance of 100 meters. "Patriarch, let's try it for a while." "Patriarch." Hua Kai looked into the distance. Donghu State colluded with the North Mountain Thief, or the North Mountain Thief was originally from Donghu State. They used this method to control all trade outside the Leopard Jade Pass and rob and kill the caravans they had prohibited. If the horse bandits failed, they would dispatch elite cavalry. "Everyone takes one small Huan pill now, and puts the rejuvenating pill in my mouth. Later, when the other party launches a charge against the slave team, I can kill from the flank and try to reduce the pressure on the slave team," Hua Kai said. Everyone in the Hua family couldn't help but smile upon hearing this. Even though contact with the East Hu cavalry might cost their lives, at this moment, as the guardians of the slave team, they must do something. The Donghu cavalry once again shortened the distance with the Wahia slave team, and they rushed into the Wahia slave team for a while and slaughtered. Because of the Wahia cavalry around them, the East Hu cavalry did not dare to disperse too much. They directly limited the damage to the slave team, and most of the casualties were caused by the slaves who found danger and crowded together. Many slaves began to flee in the wild in order to avoid being chased by the East Hu cavalry. This is actually what the East Hu cavalry would like to see most. Hua Kai saw the enemy kill and went to the slave group. He brought the Wahia cavalry close to the East Hu cavalry lineup. The East Hu cavalry in the nearby area hurried forward to support them, so they had to give up chasing and killing the slaves. Strong slaves can even chase the East Hu cavalry back, causing them some trouble. More than 100 Donghu cavalrymen who died in the hands of members of the Chinese family, and nearly 10 of them fell on the grass. Everyone broke out a real fire and saw a slave being hunted down. The other party did not run forward but ran towards the Wahia cavalry. A Chinese cavalry could not help but go up to rescue him when he saw this place, but was entangled by several Donghu cavalry. Other members of the Chinese family came forward to rescue him when they saw this place. With more than 50 Chinese cavalry entangled, his heart sank at this moment. "Patriarch, they are entangled." A patron came to Hua Kai and shouted loudly. "Patriarch, let's save them. Patriarch, they will be eaten up by the other party again." Hua Kai looked at the family members next to him. He couldn't say anything to abandon them. He raised the silver spear to indicate that all the Wahia cavalry couldn't help but smile when they saw it. This was a signal to initiate a charge. This is the first time the Hua family has launched an assault. The goal is to disperse the enemy's formation and rescue the trapped companions. Everyone looked very serious, because they knew that maybe they would sleep here after this charge, but so what? 48%. Chapter 273. Rescue arrived. Hua Kai held up the splitting gun in his hand, and launched a charge towards the Donghu cavalry in front. The Wahia cavalry behind him closely followed him. He spotted the enemy's position in front of him. When he encountered the enemy, he shot out quickly. Only by killing the enemy quickly can he relieve the pressure on his teammates behind him. This is the eternal truth of cavalry charge. The 12 training Qi Jing closely followed Hua Kai, and they quickly expanded the charge channel. The other members of the Hua family quickly followed up, maintained the charging formation, and defended their own position for the charge. Hua Kai came to the trapped family knights and saw that there were only more than 30 people left. While repelling the cavalry that the enemy army was constantly encircling, he checked the weakest link of the enemy's defense and prepared to rush out again. But the East Hu cavalry were very skilled in fighting immediately. They saw the Wahia cavalry enter their encirclement. How could they easily leave? Many cavalry all stood in front of Hua Kai. Hua Kai kept firing their guns and the opponent kept falling down, but the enemy in front more and more. They finally couldn't move in the East Hu cavalry formation. With such a disparity in strength, losing speed meant that people were slowly being eaten away. At this time, Hua Kai saw that the slave team had stopped and began to organize personnel to attack the Donghu cavalry. This was to turn around and rescue them. However, the slave team lacked weapons. They were originally ordinary people in the Central Plains. No matter how powerful opponents of the East Hu cavalry were, and the slave members kept falling, Hua Kai could only approach the slave team as much as possible. If they could join the slave team, the cavalry can still survive. At this moment, Hua Kai saw a sound of fighting from the back of the slave team. He fixed his eyes to see that the 700 East Hu cavalry and 3,000 horse bandits were chasing at the same time. They killed the slave team on both wings, and the entire slave team began to be constantly being attacked. During the massacre, everyone in the Hua family was besieged by the East Hu cavalry, unable to move. They gritted their teeth bitterly when they watched everything in the distance, but there was nothing to do. At this moment, a strong hatred rose in Hua Kai's heart. Compared with other tribes in the grassland, the closed and self-defense country of Donghu is the most brutal and inhumane. Most of them break into the pass by force killings. The northern border of Yan country, the people are about to be killed by them, and he will let the other party pay the price for what the owner does in his lifetime. As he was thinking, Hua Kai saw a chaos in the horse bandits behind the slave team, and a Chinese cavalry yelled happily when he looked there. It's the fifth master. The fifth master is here. Everyone can't help but hear the spirit here. Hua Zichen has always been the #1 master of the Chinese family. His arrival has injected new strength into everyone. Hua Kai led the Hua family to the direction of the slave team. At 100 meters, it was about to break through the opponent's defense and the slave team. Hua Kai fixed his eyes. Tianlong horse rushed to the horse bandit lineup without any reduction in speed, and all the horses that blocked it were knocked into flight. The combination of Tianlong horse and Hua Zichen is the cooperation of two Shantian realms. After entering the Shantian realm, Hua Zichen used Babao Yi Mingjiao more easily. In just a few minutes, he broke through the horse bandit defense and entered the slave team lineup. The Wahia cavalry saw this place and began to move in the direction of Hua Zichen. Hua Zichen also saw the danger of the Hua family. He rode Tianlongju towards Hua Kai. Wherever he passed, the Donghu cavalry turned over. Hua Kai suddenly felt the pressure in front of him weakened and began to approach Wushu. Hua Zichen saw Hua Kai, shot out and quickly killed the 3 Donghu cavalry who were blocking him in front of him, and came to him. Uncle Wu, you are here. Where are the others? Hua Kai asked. I am worried about you, so I will ride Tianlongju to pick you up. The family knights will arrive in about half an hour. The Donghu cavalry dared to attack the Chinese caravan at our door. Price. Hua Zichen's face was blocked by a mask. His words made everyone in the Hua family feel extremely confident. They believed that as long as the main force of the Hua family arrived, they would surely make the attackers in front of them pay a heavy price. When Hua Zichen arrived, the Wahia cavalry was finally rescued. They joined the slave team. If the Donghu cavalry wanted to eat them again, they had no chance. Everyone in the family stayed, but they were still slaughtering the Hua family slaves as much as possible. The Chinese cavalry began to cooperate with the slaves to resist the enemy's attack, so that the casualties of the slave team began to decrease. Although the Wahia cavalry was rescued, the Wahia Hiading has lost hundreds of people since the war. One of them is in the Qi training stage. There are only less than 6,000 of the 14,000 slaves. Some of the slaves have been killed, and a large part of them have been killed. It was scattered by the East Hu cavalry and had already escaped. In less than half an hour, the Wahia slave team all formed a circle. They were surrounded by more than 6,000 enemies and slaughtered. They were surrounded by slave corpses. At this time, a man and horse appeared in the east direction. They quickly rushed here. The cavalry shouted excitedly when they saw this place. I saw that this team was all light cavalry, and their horses were all tall, about 700 light cavalry, and the number of BMWs exceeded 200. This is the most elite family light cavalry in the Chinese family. The slaves heard the members of the Hua family cheering and thought they were about to be rescued, but they turned their heads and found that there were only more than 700 cavalry in the distance. It was harder for people to turn things around than heaven. The East Hu cavalry saw more than 500 people separated here and 1,000 people from the horse bandit group to stop them, and they divided into two wings and started to attack the Wahia Qingqi. Under normal circumstances, the way to deal with this kind of flanking attack is to stop and fight with it, or change the direction to get rid of the opponent's entanglement, and quickly support Huakai's defensive circle. However, the countermeasures given by the Wahia hussars were, ignore them. They speeded up and rushed towards the encircling circle, and the two tribes flanked him, and saw that the front of the Wahia hussar was a tall man riding a sweaty BMW. He flew out in front of several celebrities with a big sword in his hand. The horse has become a man. The tall warrior of the Hua family was also in the Shantian realm. The slaves couldn't help cheering when they saw this place. For them, they seemed to see hope again. A flying arrow suddenly flew out of the Wahia light cavalry formation and hit the back of an enemy's Qi training realm. The back of the Qi training realm made a strong true Qi explosion sound, and the whole person was blown up with blood. Flying is obviously not going to be alive. The two teams just met with the Wahia hussars, like a red divine armament placed in the ice. The two teams were quickly melted, and the enemies fell from their horses wherever the Wahia hussars passed. The slaves were very happy to see this place. The light cavalry team that rescued them seemed to be beyond imagination. 2 times the cavalry hindered them, but they occupied an overwhelming advantage. At this time, the main force of the East Hu cavalry began to not calm down. Thousands of people were separated to stop them. They already felt that the resistance of the Wahia slave team was getting weaker and weaker. If they were given another hour, they would be able to eat all of the slave team. Tang Lei rode a sweaty BMW at the forefront of the team. There was no 3-stroke enemy wherever he went. He rushed past 2 cavalry squads, and they rushed directly into the blocking team of the 1,000-man Donghu cavalry. The Hua family's speed did not decrease, and it passed directly through the opponent's formation. The powerful Donghu cavalry continued to fall, and everyone could not help being shocked by the cavalry team in front of them. The Wahia light cavalry rushed through 3 intercepting teams and stopped outside the slave team. Instead of entering the formation, they bypassed the slave team in front and killed the horse bandits on the side. In the rush just now, Hua Qingqi killed at least 1,000 people, and many people in the horse bandit group saw that Hua Qingqi's goal was themselves, and they couldn't help but want to get rid of the entanglement with the slave team, because they knew they would never be the opponent of this Qingqi in front of him. 1,500 Donghu cavalrymen and 1,000 horse bandits were combined, and thousands of them were killed by more than 700 opponents in one charge. The remaining 2,000 horse bandits may not be able to handle a single charge. Hua Kai looked at Hua Jia Qingqi from a distance, with a smile on his mouth. The light cavalry team has the lowest of 750 people. Realm is all in the aerodynamic state. Among them, more than 100 people in the front are all in the aura training state, so that even Donghu's most elite Wangqi troops can't match the strength. The horse bandits were almost killed in their aura training. The strongest among them might not be the opponent of the weakest soldiers wearing the golden silk soft armor of the Wahia light cavalry. The Wahia hussars followed the edge of the slave defense circle. The main force of the horse bandits was killed by this charge. Nearly 1,000 people were killed by this charge. And Hua Jia Qingqi saw the horse bandits who fled and continued to chase them up. They rode BMWs or the best horses. These horse bandits were caught up shortly after they fled and were slaughtered one by one. Feng Shui really took turns. The horse bandit group that slaughtered slaves just now is now a lamb to be slaughtered. They have no way to deal with the chasing and killing of the Chinese light cavalry. The Hua Qingqi has been chasing for several miles to get all the escaped. All the horse bandits were killed, and then they turned around and walked back slowly. At this time, the East Hu cavalry began to break away from the entanglement with the slave team. They knew that if they wanted to fight against such elite trump cards, they could only survive by holding them together and defending them for a few waves. When the slave team saw the other side retreating, they wanted to catch up. Hua Kai ordered to stop their pursuit and asked them to hand over the battlefield to the Wahia hussars. Everyone only needed to watch their performance. Tang Lei brought the Hua Qingqi to the periphery of the Donghu cavalry in no hurry. He saw that all the enemies had gathered together to defend with all their strength. About 3,000 Donghu cavalry and 1,000 horse bandits were looking at the slave team in the distance. Hua Kai and his family members in China gestured to them to say hello. Hua Kai asked the family members to organize all the slaves to retreat. Hua Zichen rode Tianlong horse slowly to the forefront of the Hua Qing cavalry. His Hua Qing cavalry is the strongest Hua Qing cavalry. More than 5,000 slaves retreated for a kilometer and solemnly looked at the 700 light cavalry in the distance, wishing to be one of them. 48%. Chapter 274 The Art of War. Hua Kai took more than 100 remaining Wahia cavalry, and more than 5,000 slave team members quietly looked into the distance, where the Wahia light cavalry fought with the Donghu cavalry. Hua Zichen riding Tianlongju is the most conspicuous at the forefront of the Wahia cavalry, and many Donghu cavalry can't help but fall on him. Wahia cavalry. Hua Zichen yelled from his seat on Tianlongju. Arrive. Hundreds of Chinese cavalry behind them agreed and shouted that they only had more than 700 people, but they gave people an aura of tens of thousands of people. It shocked everyone's heart. Many remaining members of the horse bandit group calmed their hips in horror. Warhorses. They were shocked by the aura exuded by Wahia Qingqi. Kill with me. Hua Zichen finished riding to kill the enemy in front of him. Kill. Shouting and killing, the Donghu cavalry saw here hurriedly forming a formation to rush towards the Wahia Qingqi. They knew that they were not as fast as the Wahia Qingqi, and when they were rushed up by the opponent in the cavalry army battle and they didn't move, that would be death. The distance between the two armies narrowed extremely quickly. Hua Zichen first fought with the Donghu cavalry, and saw that he was like a sharp sword hitting the opponent with dozens of people, entering the enemy formation 30 meters, and then slowing down horse stance. Tianlongju a neighing sound rang, and the entire Donghu cavalry formation began to be in chaos, and some people even fell from the horse. Only then did the Wahia cavalry follow. When they approached the East Hu cavalry formation, they suddenly split into two, eroding the East Hu cavalry a little bit along the periphery of the opposing cavalry formation, and saw that many of the East Hu cavalry came into contact with the Wahia cavalry. They fell one after another, and their formation was chaotic for the first time, which created opportunities for Wahia Qingqi. From a distance, it seemed that the East Hu cavalry formation was shrinking. When the last Chinese light cavalry walked past the periphery of the East Hu cavalry formation, everyone saw a corpse left outside the East Hu cavalry formation. The advantage of light cavalry is speed. If you give up speed and fight head-on with the opponent, even if Wahia Qingqi can win, the loss will certainly not be less, but if it only cannibalize the opponent a little bit, it will be difficult for the opponent to hurt them. Hua Zichen slaughtered the East Hu cavalry for a while, causing hundreds of casualties to the opponent. He saw that the last Hua Qingqi had left, so he went out of the encirclement and followed. After Hua's Qingqi ran for more than a kilometer, they stabilized the horse again, turned the horse's head, and continued to kill each other. With the same tactics, the East Hu cavalry had nothing to do with this. Some horse bandits could not help but start to retreat to the East Hu cavalry when they saw this place. Just a while ago, the Hua Qingqi killed at least 600 of them, most of them were horse bandit soldiers. In the second charge, Hua Zichen did not rush into the enemy's formation. He and Tang Lei rushed towards the East Hu cavalry's wings. After the second charge, Hua Qingqi stopped the horse and looked back at the East Hu cavalry and found them. Now there are less than 3,000 people left. In just such a moment, the opponent has lost more than 1,000 people. Without the owner's horses, they are walking around on the grassland. They don't seem to know what they should do next, and the Donghu cavalry also knows that Hua's Qingqi will not be able to rush. He actually prevented the remaining men and horses from recoiling towards Hua Qingqi. Hua Qingqi saw this place and began to retreat slowly, and they began to divide into two again. Hua Zichen and Tang Lei each led a team and dispersed to their wings. The speed of the opponent's charge must rise, and the distance between their queues must be reduced. Open. This is the opportunity for Wahia Qingqi. Hua Kai saw the family light cavalry tangling with each other flexibly, and there were corpses falling down wherever the two teams passed. Seeing that the corpses were all the corpses of Donghu cavalry and horse bandits, he knew that the battle was about to end. The two sides entangled and fought for several miles. At this time, the East Hu cavalry only had less than 2,000 people left. By this time, there were not a few people left in the horse bandit group. They looked at the Wahia Qingqi nearby like a devil and could tried all the methods, and the result is that their death speed is getting faster and faster. The Donghu cavalry dared not stopped and entered the rhythm just now without speed. They didn't dare to go fast to chase, so that the team would pull too far and be bitten by the Wahia Qingqi and the casualties would be high. The light cavalry is so difficult to get rid of. They stick to you like a dog's skin plaster, slowly biting the flesh on your body. You hurt, but there is nothing you can do. You can only get rid of the entanglement by using a master to entangle them. However, the Wahia Qingqi two Shantian realms, hundreds of high-end or a training realm have an overwhelming advantage, and any attempt by them will only increase casualties. At this time, even though many East Hu cavalry with strong willpower can no longer stand, this slow death waiting is the most tormenting. Someone rushed to the Wahia cavalry desperately, waiting for them to be an attack above the aerodynamic level. Some Donghu cavalry even vaulted their own horses, hoping to get a life back by escaping from the cavalry lineup, but how could this be possible? Huakai saw that the East Hu cavalry began to slow down, and the East Hu cavalry, with only more than 1,000 people left, had difficulty even moving. They were squeezed and stayed in a small area to move around. Seeing that this battle was about to end, Huakai rode to Wajia Qingqi and saw an Donghu cavalry soldier negotiating with Hua Zichen. "K, what do they do? Do you want to be captured?" Hua Zichen asked when he came to Huakai. "Don't take prisoners, kill them all," Huakai said indifferently. The Donghu country has always regarded the Central Plains as its own hunting ground. For so many years, it has caused countless disasters to Yan, Zhao, Zhongshan, Daguo, and even Qi. They believe that their blood is noble and rarely surrenders. Huakai's voice was not low. Wajia Qingqi heard it, and the Donghu cavalry in the distance could also hear clearly. They began to be in chaos, and many people shouted to fight Wajia Qingqi desperately. If they worked desperately, they wouldn't be so. Wajia Qingqi stood beside them and waited gently, waiting for Hua Zichen's final order. At this time, hundreds of Donghu cavalrymen fled to the rear, and Hua Zichen saw that they sent 50 people to pursue them. The 100 people escaped for a kilometer and were overtaken by the Wahia cavalry. At this time they began to flee. The Wahia Qingqi could only chase and kill them randomly, while the Donghu cavalry kept being chased and killed. At this time, another 100 people were separated from the main force of the East Hu cavalry. Hua Zichen had already seen the strategy of the East Hu cavalry. They were planning to disperse and flee, and how much they could walk. If the Hua family split their forces to chase and kill them, it would happen to have hit their full set, and the nearly 2,000 people would really not be able to stop Hua Qingqi from fleeing. When Hua Zichen saw this, he dispersed all Qingqi into more than 10 teams, each with 50 people. Everyone scattered around the Donghu cavalry. If they continued to escape, they had to break through their defenses. Seeing this, the East Hu cavalry marched in one direction collectively. The Wahia Qingqi did not entangle with the opponent, but chose to retreat. The other Chinese cavalry caught up with the moving Donghu cavalry and killed more than a dozen opponents. They just wouldn't let you leave. The East Hu cavalry was divided into 500 men. The Wahia cavalry only sent 100 men to entangle and did not confront them. Soon the grassland became a small-scale cavalry battle. Huakai saw that Wushu and Tanglei had already entered 100 men. The Donghu cavalry was fighting inside, and he also shot and killed him. Small-scale operations are in line with the Wahia Qingqi's intentions, so that their high-end combat power can play a greater role. In just 1 hour, the number of East Hu cavalry is getting less and less, and they can't bring any threat to the Wahia Qingqi. Slowly the number of Wahia light cavalry on the battlefield began to dominate. Huakai saw that the East Hu cavalry had no more than 10 organizations, so he stopped horse stance, handed the battlefield to the family and ignored it. The slave battalion happily let out cheers when they saw this place. This Jedi escape made them realize the strength of the Hua family. They saw the members of the Hua family chasing the Donghu cavalry in the distance, and their eyes were full of envy, because someone told them that many of these cavalrymen were like them before, they were slaves bought from the grasslands. Seeing the last East Hu cavalry besieged and killed by Hua's Qingqi, most of the Hua's Qingqi went to hunt down the enemy and had not returned. The slaves had begun to clean the battlefield spontaneously, collecting and burying the bodies of their companions. After searching the bodies of the enemies, they piled them together. Several core members of the Hua family walked towards Hua Kai. Patriarch, Patriarch. Some Hua Jia Qingqi saw Hua Kai with a smile on his face, and greeted him excitedly. Hua Kai looked at his familiar faces. Some of them were only children 4 years ago, but now they are the main fighting force of the family and protect the safety of the entire family. You are all good. Everyone looks the same. Hua Kai couldn't help smiling when he looked at everyone's faces. I haven't seen many people for 4 years today, but the Chinese family has not changed at all compared to 4 years ago. He is still the backbone of everyone and the most important existence in their hearts. Uncle Wu, let people go around and see more. Today, many slaves have been scattered. Find more and we will camp here today. Maybe someone will follow the road to catch up. Hua Kai attached to Hua Zichen. By now, many people have been exhausted to the limit. There are panicked horses all over the grassland that need to be gathered. Today, it is really not suitable to hurry. Hua Kai took out horse meat from the portable space and sent it to the slave team. Everyone has not eaten from morning until now, and many slaves have reached their limit, and even the horses are lying on the ground unwilling to get up. The sun was about to go west without knowing it, and a cloud of smoke rose from the Hua family's team. Many Hua Qingqi also slowly returned to the team at this time. They came back with several horses, and many people followed a few slaves behind them. When it gets dark, the number of returning slaves begins to increase. When they saw the smoke, they secretly came over to check how the battle was going. They didn't expect that the slave team was still here, which made them extremely happy. Without the protection of the Hua family, it would be difficult for them to survive on the grassland. Not to mention some escaped horse bandits and Donghu cavalry, they would not be able to survive when encountering wolves. When the Hua family raised a pair of bonfires at night, there were slaves constantly returning. Hua Kai and more than a dozen important members of the family sat by the bonfire to connect with Donghu country. 48%. Chapter 275. This time the caravan was attacked by the East Hu cavalry. It was so dangerous. If you didn't arrive in time, everyone in the family might have died. Hua Kai sat by the campfire, eating horse meat, and said to the family around him. Donghu country has always been the most difficult for all families to come into contact with. We crossed the border in the northwest of Jialiu County to carry out looting and killing. Yan country was able to hand over Jialiu County to Qi country in order to let Qi country help them relieve the pressure on the East Hu cavalry. In the northwestern part of Jialiu County, there were many conflicts with the Donghu cavalry. Hua Zichen looked at Hua Kai and said. Others nodded when they heard this. Although they defeated the East Hu cavalry today, the total number of East Hu cavalry exceeded 100,000. In the future, the entire Jialiu County will become the territory of the Hua family. Half of this pressure will be transferred to the Hua family. The central part of Jialiu County is a mountain range. The Great Wall is currently being built in the east. If the Great Wall is completed, this Leopard Yuguan will be the easiest place to break through in Donghu. After receiving the Leopard Jade Pass, you may face the pressure from Donghu on your own. Yu Jun sat next to Hua Kai and said that although he was the first to enter the realm of fullness, he has not yet break through Shantian, and has gradually become an intelligent talent in the Hua family. Hua Kai heard that the concerns of family members were all placed on Donghu. This time he entered the Donghu region from Linhu, and he also deeply realized the difference between Donghu and other grassland countries. Under the leadership of Donghu, they with Qin's dominance, but lacking Qin Zheng's wide-ranging tolerance, they are destined to be unable to get along with their neighbors in peace. East Hu is strong, and our Chinese family is not bad. Although we are much weaker than Donghu, they can't pose too much threat to us as long as they hold the Baoyu Pass. If we compete with Donghu, we can't compare, but if just defending a Leopard Jade Pass, the difficulty will not be too great. Hua Kai waited for everyone to finish before speaking slowly. Hua Kai looked at everyone quietly looking at himself. He knew that everyone had doubts about abandoning Guangxian County and choosing Jialiu County. In Guangxian County, they could easily deal with all the problems, but after choosing Jialiu County, their living environment suddenly changed. They need to face the threats of Donghu, Yan and even warring states. In the 3 years of severe drought, Guangxian has become the only town in Qi that has not been affected, and the population of Guangxian has more than doubled ascension. You know the reason for this. The entire family and the people of Guangxian know it. Hua Kai said. There was a pause here, and many people couldn't help becoming solemn. The Hua family has grown from a small ordinary family to the present. It only took less than 7 years. After the 3-year drought, more than 90% of the strength of the entire Guangxian city has been attributed to us. We have no backstage in Lindsay City. In the past, when the king of Qi was reigning, it was possible to look at the former affection to help us. Now that the major families of Qi are in power, if we want to stay in Qi, we have to bear the responsibilities and obligations that we should have, and Qi the country now does not need a Chinese family that is getting stronger and stronger. Hua Kai said slowly. All members of the Hua family were listening carefully. They used to be thinking about martial arts and killing enemies. They only knew that the Hua family was relocating from Guangxian to Jialiu County, and they never thought about the conflicts at the family level. Patriarch, if we don't leave, we will be squeezed out by all the great families in Qi country, right? Tang Lei looked at Hua Kai with fixed eyes. For a martial idiot, it is very good to think of so many. Maybe there will be no crowding out. They will let us give some of the benefits to them. When a big family comes, we can't afford to give up some of the benefits, and another big family comes, I have to give up part of the benefits again, and wait for us. When the family doesn't have any benefits to give them, they will feel that we are giving less and don't treat them as friends. Hua Kai looked at Tang Lei and said with a smile. These big families are really bad. I can't afford them even if they have a foundation building environment. We'd better not play with them. Tang Lei heard and said. The rest of the Hua family also nodded their heads. Compared with the major families in the Qi country, they are more willing to face the East Hu cavalry. If they are not careful in the Qi country, they may be dead. They know that the Hua family has secrets and stay away from Qi. In the core area, they can be more comfortable. In this case, Hua Kai can only tell the family members that when everyone knows the current situation of the Hua family, then they know that the development of a family is far from superficial. Everyone can feel the burden on the shoulders of a family leader. There were no tents at night, and the Hua family only sent more than 200 people to patrol outside. Many slaves and business members of the Hua family lay on the ground for a day and snored. Hua Kai took out a blanket and spread it on the ground, and soon entered Big Dream View idea gone in cultivation. Today, I didn't feel anything during the day. When the people relaxed at night, Hua Kai felt very tired. Many members of the Hua family fell asleep on the ground just like him. In the middle of the night, Hua Kai was cultivating meditation technique. He suddenly felt a strong spiritual qi fluctuation around him. Opening his eyes, he saw Wu Shu and Tang Lei in the distance also approaching here. Hua Zichen came to Hua Kai. It's Yu Jun, he seems to want to make a breakthrough, let everyone try not to disturb it. Hua Kai said. Generally speaking, you need to consume your own karma after the war, and slowly digest the battle gains after the karma is almost eliminated. Yu Jun has only A-level qualifications, and he can break through at this time. This makes people have to sigh once again that breakthrough is irregular to be found. Yu Jun's breakthrough has made the Hua family the 5th Shantian state, and the Hua family has become more and more powerful. Shui Pan also seemed to feel abnormal. He came to Hua Kai and looked at Yu Jun, feeling a little lost in his heart. Shui Pan is the most talented person in many people's minds. From a very early time Hua Kai hoped that he could become the first breakthrough Shantian existence of the Chinese family, but now Hua Kai is already Shantian, and there are 5 people in the Chinese Shantian state. He hasn't broken through the bottleneck for a long time. You don't have to worry too much. Cultivation is not something to worry about. You will definitely have a breakthrough when it is time for you to break through. Hua Kai knows what he thinks when he sees Shui Pan. As one of the top 10 core members of the Hua family, Hua Kai is in it. The expectation on him was much greater than that of Tang Lei and Yu Jun. Patriarch, you don't need to comfort me. I plan to go back to the rear to take a good training. When my karma is almost gone, I should break through soon. Shui Pan said. Shui Pan said that if he can break through quickly, it is really not far from breakthrough. I believe that it will not be long before the Hua family will be the 6th Shantian, and then the Hua family will be able to have a Shantian marksman. This time I brought back 3 horses from the Ordos tribe. You can choose one after daybreak. I hope you can break through early so that our Wahia cavalry team will be ascending to another level. Hua Kai said to Shui Pan. Shui Pan nodded. Only the Shantian realm can play the full role of the horse. With a horse, he has a more obvious speed advantage, can fly kites better, and Wahia Qingqi can find fighters more easily. Our light cavalry team has also highlighted some good marksman shoots in recent years. There are more and more people practicing bow and arrow in Jialiucheng and Wahiapu. Hundreds of people have realized the skills of archer. Shui Pan said to Hua Kai. The two talked about the topic and couldn't help but lead to Shui Chen. Shui Pan talked about his son's proud face. His son is only 17 years old but is already one of the core members of the family. He is responsible for the family's business and trade in the grassland country. He entered China at that time. The family is all for his son, and now he is very satisfied at the Hua family. Feeling the fluctuation of spiritual qi weakened, the Hua family came to Yu Jun, and he just opened his eyes. Yu Shushang, congratulations. I didn't expect you to enter Shantian one step earlier than Captain Shui. Tang Lei came to Yu Jun and said, he did not notice that he might offend two people with a word. It's just a fluke, haha. Yu Jun has seen the patriarch. Yu Jun got up and said to Hua Kai. You have accumulated enough for a long time. There is only one opportunity to make breakthrough. Spend more time to consolidate realm. I have a Xuanbing pill, which belongs to the 4th rank. Ice will, as a reward for your breakthrough Shantian realm, you can choose one of the horses I brought back from the Ordos tribe. After Huakai finished speaking, everyone in the surrounding Hua family was envious. This breakthrough Shantian pill also rewarded Shenju. They couldn't wait for themselves to make a breakthrough at this time. The family also has a magic horse. Whoever gets the first breakthrough in the Shantian realm will go to it. From now on, everyone in the breakthrough Shantian realm will receive a spiritual pill reward. Realm Zochin who cannot break through for a long time can come to me at any time. Quote. Seeing that it was not far from the dawn, there were still slaves coming back one after another at this time. Hua Kai didn't let a few big bonfires go out all night, just to guide all the slaves to come back quickly. Wait until dawn the next day. Huakai opens the family properties panel. Wahiabao, the 6th rank family. Prosperity, 4,121. Combat power, 8,306. Agriculture, 3,295. Animal husbandry, 3,760. Commercial, 5,282. Culture, 818. Comprehensive strength, 25,582. Allies, Ordos tribe, 5th rank Yao family, 7th rank Ujumchin tribe, 2nd rank Lu family, 2nd rank Sihai Chamber of Commerce, 4th rank. Affiliated forces, Huang family, 9 rank Ren family, 9 rank Jia family, 9 rank Yi family, 9 rank Tai family, 9 rank Yu family, 9 rank. Hostile forces, Donghu country, 2nd rank North Mountain bandits, 5th rank Zhao Guoshan family, 3rd rank Lindsay City Bu family, 7th rank. Capital, 84 purple gold coins, 162040 taels of gold, 810521 taels of silver, 102,384 pieces of bone coins. Luck value, 16,237. Portable space, 5 cubic meters. Huakai saw the hostile forces column in the family attribute panel, and knew that the Hua family had already made feuds with Donghu and Beishan bandits. The system showed that the Beishan bandits belonged to the 5th rank force. Then they and Donghu are likely to have a cooperative relationship, so they want to stabilize this. A westbound trade road may be even more difficult to handle. 49%. Chapter 276. Huakai knew that the Hua family might not be able to get along with its neighbors in the future, and he didn't expect that the two forces would have feuded before they moved. Regarding the Hua family attribute panel, after Yu Jun's breakthrough, his family strength value has been ascensioned by about 1,000 points, allowing Hua family's combat strength to always be ahead of other attributes, becoming the most likely first family attribute to break 10,000. In addition, the luck value of the external martial arts family suddenly reached more than 16,000. This was yesterday's battle system rewarded more than 7,000. With these luck values, Huakai can do a lot of things. The main task 7 is now completed with a family attribute of over 10,000. The Hua family's current situation is not difficult for the Ascension 1700 comprehensive combat power. It just happens that the family luck value is sufficient. Huakai decided to complete the main task 7 as soon as possible and receive the task reward. NS. The 7 or 3 rewards of the main mission are very important. 5 element spirit orbs. Needless to say, as a heaven and earth spirit treasure, Shui Chen has undergone earth-shaking changes because of the lowest level of the primary spirit treasure. Salming flower can weaken a person's body karma, which is very important for the entire Wahia Qingqi team, especially the members above the Zochin realm, not to mention the extreme qualification pill. Wushu Hua Zichen came to Hua Kai and told him the statistics of the battle yesterday. The Hua family killed more than 9,000 Donghu cavalry and Beishan horse bandits. The number of Donghu cavalry escaped was less than 100, and the number of Beishan horse bandits escaped was no more than 400. This battle can be said to have won the Hua family. A total of more than 7,000 horses were seized, of which more than 30 were BMW. In addition, there are more than 4,000 war horse corpses, and some other materials, the specifics have not been counted. The Hua family suffered heavy losses. More than 14,000 slaves are now left with more than 8,000. The slaves who did not return in one night may have become food for the prairie wolves. 119 caravan members were killed, 21 Wahia light cavalry members were killed, and horses. The loss exceeded 7,000, and the Wahia has never suffered such a large loss in many years. Uncle Wu, leave 100 Hua Jia Qingqi here and wait another day. Maybe there will be some loose slaves who will come back and let others get ready to set off quickly. We will have dinner after Leopard Yuguan at noon. Today, we must go back to Jialiu City. Hua Kai told Wu Shu. After yesterday's battle, the Chinese slave team moved much faster than before. They also knew that only after entering the customs can they be considered safe. Staying here for a while will make them a little more dangerous. On the morning of June 29, a total of 9,000 people from the Wahia caravan came to the outside of Baoyu Pass. They only took 4 hours for the 200-mile journey. Hua Kai frowned when he looked at Leopard Yuguan in the distance. This Leopard Jade Pass is not a bit worse than Hua Kai imagined. The 4-meter-high city wall has been damaged and collapsed in many places, and the 500-meter city wall spans between a mountain. Leopard Jade Pass is one of the most famous checkpoints in the northern part of the Central Plains, but because of the years of war, it is difficult to transport stones, so it is not majestic. It is often broken by Donghu cavalry and horse bandits, and Jialiu City has become the second line of defense. In the past, Yanguo stationed tens of thousands of troops in Jialiu County. Hua Zichen said beside Hua Kai. Before Hua Kai came to Baoyuguan, a gap was opened in the city gate and a group of soldiers came out from inside. Seeing that the soldiers were wearing ragged armor, there were old people over 60 years old and young children under 15 years old. Hua Kai didn't know how they guarded Leopard Yuguan. People, stop here. This is Yan Gubao Yuguan. Do you have a way to guide? A man with the appearance of a captain came to the Hua family and said. Hua Kai saw that among the more than 50 people, only the captain was in the early stage of the Kaiyuan realm. The others were in the body tempering realm and mixed aura realms. Each of them had yellowish faces and thin skins like refugees. They could be taken by 20 slaves without the Wahia cavalry. Don't talk nonsense. This is our Chinese caravan. Quickly open the city gate. A member of the Chinese family yelled. It's not possible without a road guide. This Leopard Jade Pass is not something anyone can pass. Look at you. This is the horse team and slaves brought back from the grassland. Leave 500 steeds to pass. The captain placed everyone in the Hua family. Said before. Hey, we didn't see you so great when we came here yesterday. You don't know whose site this Jialiu County is. Is this going to be robbed? A member of the Chinese family was about to step forward, he knew. This Leopard Yuguan is only 500 old, weak, sick, and disabled. Seeing the Hua family members like this, the captain was also a little frightened and took his team back to the door, but the city gate was not opened, and they were desperate. Hua Kai stopped the members of the Hua family who wanted to step forward. He came to the Baoyu Pass and watched people rushing out of the city wall from time to time, knowing that the other party was embarrassing himself and wanted some benefits. The other party decided that the Hua family did not dare to offend Yan Guo, and then they felt confident. They must also know that they would withdraw from the checkpoint on November 1st and hand it over to the Hua family. With this strength, he dared to compete with the Hua family. Hua Kai was a little bit bitter. It's on the city wall, let's talk about it. Hua Kai said, standing under the checkpoint on horseback. No one said anything at the checkpoint. They believed that the Wahia team had to go through the city gate to pass. If their person in charge speaks, they are afraid that the Wahia will take him prisoner. You know what strength you are in Leopard Jade Pass. Even if you calculate it according to the regular road guidance fee, there will be no more than 20 steeds. You are bullying our Hua family. I'll give you 500 steeds, open the door. Quote, Hua Kai stood under the checkpoint and shouted that everyone in the Hua family heard that there was a good smile on their faces. 500 steeds are also what 500 old, weak, sick and disabled like them can have. At this time, Hua Kai saw that the city gate was slowly opened, and a middle-aged man in soft armor walked out of the pass, behind him with hundreds of soldiers holding weapons. Is it a friend of the Hua family? It is really a friend of the Hua family. You see, this is a trouble. This Jialiu County is originally a territory of the Hua family. What tariffs are still paid? The obese middle-aged man is completely different from the soldiers around him. He has brand new soft armor and a brocade robe. Hua Kai sees the opponent is only the early stage strength of Kaiyuan realm, and his mouth shows a contemptuous smile. He can do this kind of stuff. The leader of the Leopard Jade Pass, Yan Guo, really didn't take the Leopard Jade Pass seriously. When everyone in the Hua family saw the city gate opened, they ignored the fatty and walked straight into the Baoyu Pass. The fatty smiled and came to Hua Zichen, wanting to speak, but saw that everyone in the Hua family was following Hua Kai. Behind him, he knew that this young man was the head of the Hua family. How do you call this general? My fellow Yan Guo Zhang family Zhang Fei. The other party came to Hua Kai and asked with a smile. Hua Kai glanced at the other party and ignored him. The Yan Guo Zhang family was a third-rank family. No wonder this fatty could become the main general here, but he must have been given up by the family when he was sent here. Hua Kai didn't bother to care about him. That's our patriarch. Watching Hua Kai walk into Baoyuguan, a member of the Hua family saw fatty and said to him. The fatty expression moved, and it seemed that this was the reaction. He threw the fat on his body and chased Hua Kai, but was blocked 5 meters away from Hua Kai. When the other party chased Hua Kai, it was a flattering slap. Hua Kai rode Lu and ignored it. He entered the barrier and saw that the defenses here were piled up with mud. The soldiers looked at them with yellow and thin eyes. General Zhang seems to have a good life here. It seems that there is really a lot of oil and water here. Zhang Fei was talking endlessly to Hua Kai when he suddenly heard that the other party stopped horse stance to speak to himself. That's the case with oil and water. In the past few years, the horse bandits have gone through the Leopard Jade Pass, and no caravan has passed through the Leopard Jade Pass. There are many dangers. A bad luck can lose a small life. Patriarch Hua, after you accept the Leopard Jade Pass, you must pay attention to the East Hu cavalry. They are all colluding with the horse bandits. If there are too many enemies, you must be decisive when you should abandon the Leopard Jade Pass. This Leopard Jade Pass, in other words, the key is to act as a war warning, and to spread the news to Yan and Qi as soon as possible. Zhang Fei said to Hua Kai. Decisive. Abandoning Leopard Yuguan, the whole Jialiu County will not be under the horseshoes of Donghu country. What should the people of Jialiu County do? Hua Kai asked. Let's just eat some military pay. It is not worthwhile to invest our lives. Now there are still a few people in Jialiu County. It is a matter of the country's masters that the horse bandits go deep into the central plains. How can we resist it? Zhang Fei said naturally. Hua Kai shook his head and ignored the other party. He saw that the Leopard Yuguan was about 100 acres in size, and there were all kinds of shops inside, but they were all built with earth walls. The center of the Leopard Yuguan was the only wooden building here, covering an area of 2 acres. How big? Not far away is a female branch room. Some women are standing at the door waiting for guests with a disgusting expression. Patriarch Hua, come and sit in my house. Since I have arrived at the Baoyuguan Pass, I must befriend the Patriarch Hua. If you encounter any difficulties in Yan country in the future, Patriarch Hua can say that it is my duty, brother. Zhang Fei didn't have a moment. He was already commensurate with the Hua Kai brothers, and his self-acquaintance was also rare, and the children of this family were not completely undesirable. Hua Kai ignored the other party. He came to a school field, which was actually a weed. He asked the family members to arrange all the slaves to rest here, and the 5th uncle instructed Jiading to go to a restaurant to see if there was anything to eat. As a result, the restaurant only had some common mutton and wotu. The members of the Hua family bought some and couldn't eat it after a few bites. I don't know how long the mutton was left. The wotu was made of whole grains, so they gave everything to the slaves. They have to bring at least 3 days of dry food for each trip. Wahia's dry food is much better than the food in these restaurants. Hua Kai took out a pile of horse meat and sent it to the slave brigade. Soon a plume of smoke rose in the Leopard Yuguan. Everyone looked for the eaves on the roadside and under the big tree to rest. Hua Kai was with the core members of the family. After eating a few pieces of horse meat and drinking a glass of spirit wine for lunch, it was resolved. At this time, he saw many hungry people in Leopard Jade Pass staring at them from a distance. In addition to soldiers, there were some ordinary people in Leopard Jade Pass. They were in charge of the basic life of the soldiers here. 49%. Chapter 277. Zhang Fei. Go, send them some horse meat. Hua Kai said to the family around him when he saw it. Jiading distributes horse meat to the hungry people. These people are also aware that they are queuing to receive it and no one robs them. It seems that they are very scared of the soldiers. After more than 10 pieces of horse meat were divided, there were more and more people in the line. They would not leave after seeing the horse meat, and they would stand there and stare at the people of the Chinese family. Go and give them 5 caddies of horse meat. Hua Kai couldn't help feeling soft when he saw this place, and said to the family around him. In fact, there are not many ordinary people here. There are more than 20 large Baoyuguan shops and more than 50 ordinary people. They all received horse meat from the Hua family. By the afternoon, the Hua's slaves had already got up and pulled up their horses to leave Baoyuguan to continue on their way. At this time, Hua Kai heard a loud noise not far away, and went forward to see 2 soldiers beating a family of 3. The man's face was yellow and thin, lying on the ground no longer moving. The woman holding a crying baby on the ground kept kowtow begging for mercy. What's wrong? Hua Kai asked when he stepped forward to look at the 2 soldiers. Soldiers beating civilians rarely happen in cities. The 2 soldiers bowed their heads and said nothing. When the woman saw Hua Kai kneeling and walked in front of Hua Kai, she just bowed her head. Hua Kai asked her but did not speak. What's that? Hua Kai asked when seeing a soldier holding a piece of half-cooked horse meat in his hand. Master Wei, it was this untouchable who stole my horse meat. Thanks to the time I found out, or they would have cooked it and eaten it. The soldier looked at Hua Kai and said with a smile. The woman looked at Hua Kai innocently, as if she regarded him as her only hope. I gave this meat to him at noon. How did it become yours? Besides, you have already got the meat, why do you still bully them? Hua Kai asked, pointing to the man lying on the ground. The 2 soldiers bowed their heads and did not speak, and all the soldiers and the people on the scene watched all this and remained silent. At this time, Zhang Fei ran over from a distance with a fat body. He dared to block the Wahia caravan's path without opening and closing the door. That was just to scare the Wahia. If the Wahia couldn't stand the scare, he was willing to leave a few horses behind. Earned it, but he really didn't have the guts to have a conflict with the Hua family. In the conflict between the 2 parties, Yan Guo will never offend the Hua family for him, and his family will not speak out to protect him. In the end, even if he loses the existing rights in his hands, it is possible for Hua Kai to be angry and kill himself. Oh, what's going on here? Patriarch Hua laughed. You 2 are not ready to get out of here, what is it? Zhang Fei cursed at the 2 soldiers. Seeing Zhang Fei's arrival, the 2 soldiers turned and left with joy on their faces. Put down the horse meat. Hua Kai said. The 2 soldiers watched the Hua Jiajia Ding approaching, stopped and looked at Zhang Fei on the side. Patriarch Hua, why be so angry? Because it is not worth it for the 2 untouchables. If you want to give them the horse meat, why bother you to do it yourself? Give the meat to me and I will give you a proper distribution. Zhang Fei came to China. Kai said next to him. Seeing him approaching, Hua Kai motioned him away in disgust. 2 members of the Hua family blocked Zhang Fei 2 meters away from Hua Kai to prevent him from approaching. If I remember correctly, this leopard Yuguan standing army should be 2,000 people. The original population here has been breakthrough over 10,000 people. The people have already let you suck blood to the bone marrow. I am afraid that I will give you these people a mouthful of broth. No way. Hua Kai looked at Zhang Fei and said. Paradise Hua, why get angry? Hey, these untouchables are like this. The more you treat them, the more they are noisy. If you don't beat them every few days, they will be itchy. Good things are all wasted to them. Zhang Fei Zheng said, seeing Hua Kai's face was wrong, and his voice became smaller and smaller. This leopard Yuguan should belong to the Hua family. Hua Kai said, looking at Zhang Fei. This, Jialiu County belongs to the Hua family territory, and leopard Yuguan naturally belongs to the Hua family. Zhang Fei didn't know what Hua Kai meant, but still said. Since this is the territory of the Hua family, Yan Guo can only help guard the leopard Jade Pass, right? All the civilians here should also be regarded as the property of the Hua family, right? Hua Kai asked. That's what I said, but I received Jicheng's order to guard until November before leaving. Zhang Fei said hurriedly when he heard this. I didn't drive you away. This is the territory of our Hua family. It is only natural that we want to stay. Wushu, let people take the leopard Yuguan defense. Hua Kai said loudly. The members of the Hua family heard that they had already organized members to go to the city wall. Zhang Fei heard this here. Patriarch Hua, you have to think clearly. Jicheng said that the handover with the Hua family was completed in November. If Jicheng blames it, all the responsibility lies with the Hua family. Don't bother with General Zhang. The handover will be completed in November. It doesn't mean that the handover can only start in November. We have already arrived. Now is the time for the handover. It will be completed by the handover in November. I hope that General Zhang will cooperate. Hua Kai completely ignored it. He watched everyone from the Hua family escort each other's soldiers down from the city wall. Tang Lei, go and catch the violent bandit who just assaulted the civilians. Our Hua family does not allow anyone to bully the civilians like this. Hua Kai said to Tang Lei on the side. Tang Lei came to the gate of the general's mansion. Several soldiers looked at Tang Lei's tall body and looked at Zhang Fei timidly. Zhang Fei came to Hua Kai and kept telling him the benefits of offending Yan Guo. Hua Kai looked at the other side quietly, but didn't speak. Tang Lei saw here and dozens of light cavalry members marching into the general's mansion, and soon a number of women's shouts came from the mansion. Seeing this, Zhang Fei sat on the ground with a decadent expression, knowing he was finished. Without the control of the leopard Yuguan, he has little effect on the family, and the entire country of Yan will not care about him. Paradise Hua, I am willing to give up the leopard Yuguan pass and transfer the control to the Hua family. I also ask Patriarch Hua to let me go because of the friendship between Qi and Yan. When I return to Jicheng, I will say that Donghu is attacking. I have handed over leopard Yuguan to the Hua family to take over. Zhang Fei said while sitting on the ground. What General Zhang said. Yan State ordered the handover in November. How can General Zhang leave before July? General Zhang will have a good rest in this leopard Yuguan for the past 3 months. It's time for me. Someone must send the general out of Jialiu County. Hua Kai said. At this time, Tang Lei and the members of the Hua family returned with 2 soldiers. The other party kept arguing. After the Hua family gave them a few punches, they calmed down. Patriarch, people are here, do you want to kill? Tang Lei looked at Hua Kai and said. Hearing that they were about to kill themselves, the 2 soldiers began to struggle constantly. They looked at Zhang Fei who was sitting on the ground and shouted for help. Uncle Wu, what should I do if I find soldiers beating civilians in the Hua family? Hua Kai turned to look at Wushu Hua Zichen, who was aside. Compensate for the loss of the injured, and punish them from 10 to 50 sticks according to the injuries of the people. Hua Zichen returned. Okay, let the 2 of you heal his injuries first. If you can't heal his injuries, you 2 don't have to live. Uncle Wu, don't let anyone leave if you are optimistic about the checkpoint. If anyone dares to escape secretly, just kill him. Hua Kai said. What should he do? Yu Jun came to Hua Kai and pointed to Zhang Fei. After all, the country of Yan is the strongest country in the world except Qin and Chu. If you offend the country of Yan, it will be of no benefit to the Hua family. General Zhang helped our Hua family guard the leopard Yuguan, but our friends from the Hua family give you 1 day to leave the general mansion. At this time tomorrow, I will send someone to take over the general mansion. Hua Kai said. When Zhang Fei heard the emotion here, he sat on the ground and cried bitterly. Patriarch Hua, I originally wanted to blackmail you a few horses. You can't kill me, Zhang Fei. Those who moved out of the general's mansion to my dear followers, and where does the little concubine live? I don't want to live in an inn. Zhang Fei cried. Hua Kai also persuaded the other party, leaving him a life for himself, and the other party was still picky and unwilling to live in an inn. This was the first time he saw this superb quality. It's good if you don't live in the inn. You are not allowed to live in all the houses in Leopard Jade Pass. Whoever dares to harass my people, I will cut off his head directly. I am a ruler, and I will let you go in November. You, don't let me change my mind. Hua Kai said. Zhang Fei heard the fat on his body trembling constantly. He didn't know if his clothes were wet with sweat or tears on his face, but he didn't dare to speak anymore when he looked at Hua Kai. Since the other party dared to tear his face apart, he was not afraid of Yan. China, so what confidence does he have to negotiate with Hua Kai again? At this time, all the people in Leopard Yuguan were standing in the distance and watching quietly. They looked at Zhang Fei, who was sitting on the ground and crying, without a trace of expression on his face. Who knows that the new owner of Leopard Yuguan who is standing in the distance can how much better than Zhang Fei? Let the caravan more than 100 masters first bring 5,000 slaves and all the horses back to Jialiu City. Tomorrow, Jialiu City will send 1,000 soldiers to Baoyuguan to garrison. Hua Kai asked Wahia Qingqi team members to call everyone at Baoyuguan to the school grounds to count the population of Baoyuguan today. All ordinary people at Leopard Jade Pass, each household comes here to receive 10 caddies of horse meat. The defenders of the Yan Kingdom cannot enter the people's houses, and those who violate the order shall be cut off. All Yan soldiers attacking the people, cut it. All the people of Leopard Yuguan who have a complaint can go to the school to seek a complaint from the Hua family, and the Hua family holds justice for all the people. Several Hua Jia Qingqi rode across the inner street of Baoyuguan, shouting Hua Kai's orders. All the people of Leopard Yuguan took to the streets in silence, came to the school, lined up there to get horse meat, and now it seems that the new owner of Leopard Yuguan is much better than Zhang Fei. Zhang Fei sat on the ground and cried for a while. Seeing that no one paid any attention, he got up and went back to the general's mansion. He looked at Hua Qingqi and knew that it was impossible not to move out this time. Hua Kai said that tomorrow he would definitely not give him more time. If he didn't obey him, he might really be slashed by the opponent. 49%. Chapter 278 New Plan for Leopard Jade Pass. In the afternoon, the Hua family and everyone from the Hua family lived in the Leopard Yuguan Inn. This Leopard Yuguan might have been used by merchants as an inn before, and the scale is not small. It is also a good thing for us to take over Leopard Jade Pass now. The conflict between us and Donghu cannot be resolved. It is entirely possible for them to attack Leopard Jade Pass. It is very important for us to resume the defense of Leopard Jade Pass as soon as possible. Hua Kai said to everyone in the Hua family sitting in the courtyard. K, how do you deal with that piece of fertilizer? Hua Zichen said. Ignore it. If they dare to resist the direct suppression, they will attack the common people, no matter who they are. You can let people stare at the two soldiers, and don't take the common people to the hospital for treatment for one day. He played 5 sticks in the school field, and there was no movement the next day and 5 sticks were added. Hua Kai said. Everyone nodded. This group of people are used to bullying the people. Almost all shops here are controlled by Zhang Fei, and they have sent people to take over the shops. Several people talked about the takeover and future development of the Leopard Yuguan. These Chinese families could not be familiar with them. First, let the slaves and the people build the houses inside the Leopard Yuguan, and prepare adequate housing for the upcoming family members, so that the people of the Leopard Yuguan will also can earn some income, get out of poverty, and support the rule of the Chinese family. The most important question now is, what standard do we follow to rebuild the Leopard Jade Pass? If it is just piled up with earth walls like this, everything will be very simple. If it is built with stone and wood, it will be much more difficult. Leopard Jade Pass, there are no stone factories and timber factories nearby, and it will take at least half a month to transport it from the Dongling Mountains. Yu Jun said. Leopard Jade Pass is one of the important nodes of the link between the grassland and the central plains. The width of the pass is only 1 kilometer. As long as there are thousands of elites who occupy the benefits of the level, you can guard the Central Plains gateway. At the same time, this is also one of the closest roads to the grassland. If you want in Jialiu County, this Leopard Jade Pass is very important. I think this Leopard Jade Pass is not only to be repaired, but also the best. Hua Zichen said. But how to solve the material? We have invested more than 300,000 gold in Jialiu City for more than half a year. If the Leopard Jade Pass is built at the same time, will the human and financial resources fail to keep up? Yu Jun asked. Hua Zichen looked at Hua Kai. He also didn't know much about the economic situation of the Hua family. All of the wealth accumulation of the Hua family for so many years was put on construction. The small Wahia fort spent a total of more than 400,000 gold, which is generally large. The family can build a medium-sized city. Don't worry about funding. We can use the slaves we bought back from the grassland to rebuild the Leopard Jade Pass, but this material transportation is a problem. If the Leopard Jade Pass is completely rebuilt, we can completely treat this as our military city. Come to develop. When the road to the grassland is opened up in the future, this place can become a commercial city of Wahia. The meaning of Hua Kai's words is already very obvious. To build the new Leopard Jade Pass with all its strength, to build this into a Wahia military town, so that everyone only has to consider how to build it and what to build. Hua Kai took out a stack of papers to discuss with everyone, based on their simple understanding of the terrain of Baoyuguan, made the preliminary construction plan of Baoyuguan. If the plan is completed, Baoyuguan will become a large-scale checkpoint with 30,000 troops. The average enemy can't get the Leopard Jade Pass within half a year. I will return to Guangxian County in a few days when the place is stable. When the time comes, my uncle and I will find a way to deal with supplies. From tomorrow on, we will arrange a special person to be responsible for the affairs of Baoyuguan. Who do you think will stay here? Is the host suitable? Hua Kai asked when everything was discussed. Everyone's eyes were first placed on Hua Zichen. Leopard Yuguan is the most important place for the Hua family in the future. Of course, Hua Zichen is the most suitable. But if he is going to give up the leadership position of the cavalry team, there is no one in the Hua family's light cavalry team can replace Hua Zichen. After that, everyone's eyes walked over Tang Lei, Yu Jun, and Shui Pan. The only three of them in the Hua family who could have the strength and prestige to sit in the Leopard Yuguan Pass. Then Yu Jun, you will stay. I will leave you with 2 special level family members, 31st level family members, 50 Wahia Qingqi, 1,000 ordinary soldiers, plus 3,000 slaves. These will be regarded as permanent personnel in the future. Yes, I want you to show me a good view of this Jialiu County gateway, can you do it? Hua Kai asked. Patriarch, don't worry, guarantee to guard the Leopard Jade Pass and prevent a thief from passing through. Yu Jun promised. This is the first time that Yu Jun is acting alone, and it is now the key Leopard Jade Pass. After years of changing rules, Hua Jia Jia Ding is now different from before. Special Class Family Ding said that people with A+ level qualifications or above, or those who have strong organizational and management skills, have a lower status than the core in the Hua family. The first class family members are those with a level of A-level qualification or above, or those with management talents. There are now more than 100 people in this family. In addition, second-class family members need qualifications above B+, and cultivation base above the pneumatic level Zochan. Wahia has more than 600 people. There are many third-class families in China. As long as the qualifications are above B or above, some special talents also have the status of third-class family members. The number of third-class family members in the Chinese family exceeds 2,000. As for the others, they are not qualified. Except for some special geniuses, the others can only get salaries if they work. Wahia Qingqi and Wahia Jiading are 2 different systems. Everyone can automatically apply for the assessment as long as they are qualified in equestrian and have the strength above the aerodynamic level. After entering the Qingqi team, they can get at least 10 gold every year. After being strong and doing meritorious service, you can still get rewards. It is a more dangerous but quickest career. Hua Kai arranged these troops to be enough for Yu Jun to hold on for half a day in danger, even if the opponent had multiple Shantian realms or even foundation building realms. Such a wide city gate would be enough for him to slow down the clearance speed with 3,000 slaves, and wait until Jialiu County reinforcements arrive. After the Hua family was completely relocated from Guangxian City to Jialiu City, there must be some progress in the construction of Baoyuguan. Then he would transfer the family barracks to Baoyuguan little by little. The person in charge of the Baoyuguan was confirmed. Everyone could not help but talk about the defense and construction of the Baoyuguan. Today, the wall of the Baoyuguan is 4 meters high. Donghu cavalry can jump up on a BMW. This city wall will be the next one. The key to the reconstruction is the construction of the arrow tower on the city wall, the observation deck and other facilities. Hua Kai asked Yu Jun to give himself a detailed measurement drawing of the Leopard Jade Pass within half a month. He wanted to bring the drawing back to Lindsay City to ask a craftsman to design a new Leopard Jade Pass. During the discussion, a family member came in to report that when the shop was recovered, there was a conflict with the people of Baoyuguan. There were old people who participated in the killing of several people in the Hua family. The people in charge of these shops are all Zhang Fei's people, and Zhang Fei arrived. It doesn't appear now. He can't protect himself. What will he do? You do what you should do, even if it is Zhang Fei, as long as he dares to change and kill him directly. Hua Kai said. In the evening, the Hua family has taken over the entire Leopard Yuguan, and all the shops have been taken back by the Hua family, but these shops may be particularly scarce, especially the food is not 100 catties. On the second day, Hua Kai first spent more than 4 hours bringing 20 people into the 4 secret realms for trials. These 20 people are all new members of the family list who have never entered the family secret realm space trial. 2 breakthrough bottleneck entered the Qi training realm. In one morning, Hua Kai saw the ascension of the family's combat power for more than 30 points. If this speed continues, the Hua's combat power can be ascension to more than 10,000 in more than a month. He went to the Leopard Yuguan grain shop to send 100 shi of various grains, and supplemented the goods to the grocery store, cloth store, etc. Shui Chen was in the Ordos tribe. Even if the general goods were not in the Wahia Baoguang glass bottle, he still can make up. At noon, it was the time agreed with Zhang Fei, but Jiading came to report that the gate of the general's mansion was closed, and there was no movement inside. Hua Kai knew that the other party was going to be a dead dog, but how could the Hua family eat yours? He followed the Hua family to outside the general's mansion. Tang Lei stood outside the general's mansion and began to give his final warning. Hua Kai could hear the large number of people inside the general's mansion. They seemed to be ready to fight the Hua family. Okay, let's attack, Hua Kai said while standing at the door. Tang Lei took more than 200 light cavalry members across the outer wall of the general's mansion, and soon there was a fighting sound inside, and the sound of fighting quickly moved to the inner courtyard of the general's mansion. Within an hour, Hua Kai saw the gate of the general's mansion open. Tang Lei held a meatball like Zhang Fei and threw it at Hua Kai's feet with disgust. Zhang Fei cried and wanted to hold Hua Kai's leg but was stopped by the Hua family. Patriarch Hua, this is a misunderstanding. I really didn't want to oppose you. I'm just a ghost who wants to blackmail you a few horses. Please let me go. If you drive me out of the generals, I have nowhere to go. Go. Zhang Fei looked at Hua Kai and cried bitterly. But the comfortable life of fine clothes and food, being served, will you die? Now at this time, you still want to enjoy, I really don't know what you are thinking. Hua Kai looked at Zhang Fei and said. I'll die without a life of rich clothes and jade food. Uncle, you let me go, I will be a cow and a horse for you in the next life to repay you. Zhang Fei said seriously. I don't believe it, I want to try. I gave you the opportunity to take away your belongings, but you didn't cherish it. Then we will play a game. If you don't die, what if I win? Hua Kai laughed. Zhang Fei did not dare to speak anymore. He could feel Hua Kai's killing intent. As long as he dared not to obey, maybe the next moment himself would become the dead soul of the opponent. The family members, maids, and Zhang Fei's wives and concubines in the general's mansion were all driven out one by one, and these female relatives were crying like Zhang Fei at this time. They came to the center of the schoolyard to wait for the Hua family to dispose of them, but Hua Kai didn't care about these and entered the general's mansion with Jia Ding. Entering the general's mansion, Hua Kai is like returning to Qi. There are many pavilions here, and there are 2 gardens in the mansion. More than a dozen pavilions are built with spirit wood. It's not a problem for 500 people to live here. No one can think of such a shabby. There is still such a place in the Leopard Yudian days. 49%. Chapter 279. Hua Kai came to the main courtyard and ordered everyone from the Hua family to move into the general's residence first. It would be no problem to squeeze 1,000 people here. Jia Ding reported that a large amount of grain was found in the warehouse of the general's mansion. They clashed with the soldiers guarding the granary and killed more than 10 people. Hua Kai came to the warehouse and was stunned by the sight in front of him. There are countless wheat, rice, and various coarse grains in the warehouse, and it is roughly estimated to be at least 30,000 shi. These grains are enough for 15,000 people to eat for a year, but the grain shop at Baoyuguan only keeps 100 caddies of coarse grains. At this time, someone reported that a secret room was found in the study. Hua Kai came and found more than 300 taels of gold, more than 80,000 taels of silver, and more than 1 million bone coins. There were also many other things such as cloth, tea, sugar and so on. To such a degree is also admirable. Even if Zhang Fei left normally after November, he couldn't take all so much food and property. I really don't know why he did this. If Leopard Yuguan was breached by Donghu or horse bandits during this period, these supplies would be too. Can only be an enemy. Give these things to Yu Jun. These materials are just used to build the Leopard Jade Pass. The members of the Chinese family began to lead the slaves to clean the general mansion, and many people had already started to set up tents in many open spaces, and the whole general mansion suddenly became lively. Zhang Fei took hundreds of family members, and more than 500 soldiers stayed at the school grounds at a loss. The former general mansion no longer belonged to them. They all looked at Zhang Fei, who was surrounded by the center, and waited for his next order. Zhang Fei was sweating in such a hot noon. He raised his hand and an attendant hurriedly walked over. General, go, get me some honey. Zhang Fei said. General, we are now driven out of the general's mansion, there is no honey water. The attendant looked at Zhang Fei and said. Zhang Fei sighed. There is no chance to take back the general mansion. Because of his life-saving character, he does not dare to go to Hua Kai, let alone escape. What he most distresses now is the food, gold and silver in the general mansion. That was all the harvest it had gained in the past 2 years since it took over the Baoyuguan Pass. Go get me some water, and then get me some food. Buy it with money, don't irritate the Hua family. Zhang Fei thought for a while and said. The guard was a little reluctant, but in the end he went. He went to a family of people's house and asked for a bowl of water. He wanted to get something to eat at the other's house, but the other party didn't wait for him to finish saying that he didn't have any food at home. Even if he says to give money is not enough. In the end, he could only come back slowly, watching Zhang Fei's stomach gurgling while drinking water, and everyone suddenly felt extremely hungry. Zhang Fei saw this place and asked everyone to find food, and found him a double reward, but waited until the afternoon. Only half of the 500 soldiers who were looking for food came back. Zhang Fei increased the rewards, and then someone sent him a piece of horse meat. He could not swallow it after only 2 mouthfuls. All the shops in Baoyuguan were controlled by the Hua family. The people only had these to eat. Zhang Fei began to have some. I regret that it was too cruel to exploit the people, otherwise I wouldn't suffer so much now. Thousands of soldiers from the Hua family arrived in the afternoon at Shenxi. Hua Zuan led the team. The construction of Jialiu City was on the right track. There were many super-class Hua family members who saw nothing wrong. When Hua Zuan came to Baoyuguan, he arranged for soldiers to rotate at the checkpoints and patrol. He also brought some professional Lugia craftsmen. Now the planning and construction drawings of Baoyuguan have not come down. You can build more temporary houses and repair the city walls. Otherwise, so many people would be sad this winter. After 12 days in Leopard Jade Pass, Huakai completed the trial for a total of 120 people. Sometimes surprises will come so inadvertently. After completing the 4th round of Will Training Secret Realm, a member of the Wahia Light Cavalry on the 8th floor of the Qi Realm was promoted directly to Shantian and became the 6th Shantian realm of the Hua family. 34 aerodynamic breakthroughs entered the Qi training state, and the Wahia Light Cavalry team has reached 160 Qi training members, of which more than 90 were in the late stage Qi training. This light cavalry member named Hua Peng went from a small captain to a core member of the Hua family, and the entire cavalry team became more active with him as an example. On this day, Huakai successfully upgraded a horse. Nowadays, there are more and more people in the Hua family practicing aura, and more BMWs are needed. The training speed of relying solely on the family owner is too slow. If you want the combat strength of the Ascension Light Cavalry team, it is necessary to improve the quality of horses, because the Light Cavalry rely on agility. People were asked to bring the horses back to the stables, and Huakai left the general's mansion. There were more than 10 tents set up on the school ground in the distance. More than 10 days ago, there were more than 100 tents here. Zhang Fei sat at the door of a tent and looked at the street in the distance. An attendant bought food with him. The money is gone. In the past few days, the Hua family organized new houses for the people of Baoyuguan. More than 500 of his soldiers had already left. Even a few rooms of Shina's concubines escaped. They all went to help the Hua family build new houses, 10 a day. A bone coin is still in charge of a meal, and Zhang Fei feels distressed when he sees it here. All these food and money belong to him. He was driven out when he left the general's house. There was only a small amount of gold on his body, but there was not much left in the 10 days. Seeing Hua Kai coming out of the general's mansion, Zhang Fei's thin body jumped up, and a smile on his face walked towards Hua Kai. Patriarch Hua. Zhang Fei walked to Hua Kai's side with a flattering smile. This, General Zhang, have you lost weight? Hua Kai was also taken aback when he saw Zhang Fei's appearance. Hey, Patriarch Hua, it's me who is obsessed and disrespectful to Patriarch Hua, and I am also a brother to Patriarch Hua. My food and money have been handed over to you, and now the soldiers and family members are almost gone. Patriarch Hua, you just let me go. Come on, when I arrive in the country of Yan, I will say something nice to you, not to let Jicheng trouble you, I swear. Zhang Fei looked at Hua Kai hopefully. General Zhang is serious. I think General Zhang has been doing well these few days. This body shape looks like this now. Since King Yan said that the handover will be completed in November, how can General Zhang give up halfway? It's November. I must let General Zhang go. Hua Kai was leaving after speaking, but Zhang Fei was anxious. Patriarch Hua, just let me go. I really can't stay at this Leopard Yuguan. No people are willing to sell me anything. Our family ate 2 whole grains yesterday, and I will die if I don't leave. Zhang Fei cried and said. Ha ha, under the management of the Hua family, no one will die of starvation in this Leopard Jade Pass, as long as you are willing to be full of opportunities everywhere. Besides, you don't have so many attendants and maids. Hua Kai looked into the distance. Zhang Fei's family members said. Hua Kai left and Zhang Fei returned to the tent. He decided to find something to eat by himself. He spent a few ounces of gold in more than 10 days and only bought back a tael of silver. If this continues, he really will have nothing to eat. Money is starving to death. After giving instructions to his wives, concubines and attendants, Zhang Fei brought 2 attendants to the door of the restaurant on the street. He could not help but swallow when he smelled the scent of cooking in the restaurant. A new chef has arrived in the restaurant these days, and business is better than before. For unknown reasons, Zhang Fei walked in and saw that all the people sitting here were Hua Jia Ding. He came to the corner table a little timidly, and felt a little relieved when no one drove him away. What can the guest eat? We have beef with soy sauce, roast leg of lamb, sweet and sour pork. Xiaoer introduced him to him with a smile, and handed the menu to Zhang Fei. Zhang Fei glanced at it and was taken aback by the price of the food. After buying the tent and bedding, his money was stolen by the attendant again. Now he only has less than 2 gold on his body. Just give me these 2 dishes, and another big bucket of rice. Zhang Fei ordered 2 of the cheapest dishes and said to Xiaoer. He was happy in his heart, which shows that the Hua family did not prevent him from living normally in Leopard Yuguan. Thinking of this, Zhang Fei's heart felt bored. The guards whose conscience had fed the dog kept deceiving themselves and pitted their money for more than 10 days. But after thinking about it, he couldn't take those guards even if he found the other party. Regardless of whether he is in the Kaiyuan realm, if he really fights, he may not be able to beat the early stage in the body tempering realm. After eating a big bucket of rice happily, Zhang Fei never thought that the rice could be so delicious. Looking at the 2 dishes that he had eaten, Zhang Fei wanted to bring 2 dishes back for the waiting wife and concubine, but in the end, I only bought a bucket of rice and went back. When he returned to the battlefield, he saw his wife with a concubine and his children waiting for him in the open space. The tent next to him had been demolished and taken away, and all the attendants and maids walked away. It's really a group of wolf-hearted people. When I left here in November, I made them look good one by one. Zhang Fei said angrily while watching his family eating rice. They have all gone to work at the Wahia construction site. Even if we leave here after November, can you come back and fight against the Wahia? These people will definitely not leave Jialiu County again, said his wife angrily. Zhang Feishan sighed. After losing the privilege of the family, he became nothing. He regretted not listening to Hua Kai at the time. If he was obedient and brought his family out early, the general mansion's food, gold and silver would be enough for him to stay at Leopard Yuguan. Squandered. After lunch, he dared not let his family members stay on the school grounds. Those leaving attendants didn't know who would hate him. He took his family members and found a small courtyard in the Leopard Yuguan. Fortunately, it was cheap. He spent 1 gold and 80 silver to buy this yard. At night, everyone had cleaned the house, and everyone was very happy. They seemed to be more satisfied with such a small courtyard than living in the general's mansion, but another problem posed in front of them: they had no money. If you are full at noon, bear with me at night. Tomorrow I will go to see if there are people recruiting from Wahia. Yesterday I saw Shaolin passing by the school. I will ask her, Zhang Fei's wife said. Shaolin was Zhang Fei's wife's personal maid. She took the 5 taels of silver she bought for them and never came back. Zhang Fei didn't expect that one day she would beg for a maid who defected, but what can they do now? 49%. Chapter 280 Military Reorganization Plan. On the evening of July 14th, all the core members of the Hua family gathered in the family secret realm space. Today is a big gathering once every 10 days. When Zhuang and Shui Chen talk about the situation in the Hua family grassland base, Hua Xing begins speaking of the Hua family in Guangxian County. It is a matter. Now Guangxian is completely different from before. The Han family has now taken refuge in the new owner of Guangxian. The entire Guangxian power has not yet been completed. Recently, more and more families have been in conflict. It seems that we are staying in Guangxian. It won't be long before this Guangxian city can't be truly stable after staying for one more day. Many affiliated families have come to ask me if I can leave soon. Hua Xing said. We seldom enter the city of Guangxian anymore. The restaurants in the city only go to the general ledger once a month. The Huang family, Yu family, Yi family, etc. have already negotiated to transfer their villages. Everyone has decided to go with us. Even the Zheng's house, who didn't plan to go to Jialiu County before, recently asked to leave with us. The butler Wafu said and shook his head. The situation in Guangxian City has changed so rapidly that Huakai did not expect that there are a large number of families in Guangxian City, and several families above the 6th rank have arrived. This has changed the city of Guangxian. Can't stop this whirlpool. Everyone unanimously decided to let the family move quickly. Hua Zichen and Shui Pan talked about the situation of the leopard Yuguan. When they talked about the battle with the Donghu cavalry half a month ago, everyone felt that the core of the future development of the Hua family must be put it on the military. At this time, Hua Kai saw that Shui Chen seemed to have something to say, and motioned him to speak. Shui Chen thought for a moment and said, "Patriarch, our Chinese family exclusively owns Jialiu County. It is no smaller than any other county or elementary school. Jialiucheng has a population of more than 60,000. We can plan the own army now, even if it's just a prototype. In case of war, the size of the corps can be rapidly expanded." Shui Chen's meaning is well understood by everyone. In the event that a powerful enemy in Jialiu County invades, when the entire Jialiu County must gather all its forces to resist the incoming enemy, the Hua family can organize more forces to participate in the resistance. I agree with Shui Chen's proposal. I have some preliminary ideas in the past few days. Let's think about it. If we want to give full play to all the fighting power of the family, it is best to establish the Legion framework now. For example, the Wahia Qingqi, the most elite of the Hua family, needs a garrison that protects the safety of Baoyuguan and Jialiu City, as well as dealing with various types of troops in peacetime. Unexpected regular troops, Hua Kai said. The development of the Hua family has now been discussed together by all family corps, and Hua Kai finally made the final decision. This method can adapt all regulations and decisions to the family development to the greatest extent. Kair is right. Splitting all the soldiers into different regiments can maximize their strength. The Wahia Light Cavalry is the elite of the Hua family, there is no doubt. Our Hua family only needs to have a firm grasp of this unit. We can let all the affiliated families participate in the others. Hua Xing said at this time. He was considering the integration of the entire Hua family and the affiliated family. Everyone nodded when they heard this. When it comes to the new core reconstruction, there is a general direction, and the rest is some branches and details. Hua Kai has some advanced military supervision knowledge of modern people, and gives some suggestions from time to time when everyone is discussing. Everyone keeps talking. It was late at night that finally made the Hua family's future military development plan. On the second day, Hua Kai checked the family properties. With a family strength of 9,678 points, there are only more than 300 points left from 10,000 points. Hua Kai originally wanted to complete the main task 7 as soon as possible, but time was not allowed. He needed to rush back to Guangxian County as soon as possible. All important members of Baoyuguan were called to the main living room for a meeting, and Hua Kai sat in the main seat. The expansion of Leopard Jade Pass has gradually become formal. Thousands of earthen huts have been built in half a month. The next step is the construction of city walls and other defensive facilities at the checkpoint. Tomorrow I plan to return to Qi first. Bring the new drawings of Leopard Yuguan, and bring the stone and wood. Hua Kai said as he looked at the crowd. In Baoyuguan for half a month, Hua Kai has sent all family members who can enter the trial of family secret realm space into the trial, upgraded more than 20 horses, and successfully achieved 16 BMW breakthroughs. The upgrade of horses is a slow process. Now the new construction of Leopard Yuguan is the most important thing. He plans to wait until the family migration is completed, and he will gain a foothold in Jialiu County before slowly upgrading the horses. This battle suddenly gained tens of thousands of luck points. Hua Kai didn't use the family luck points to upgrade the family's martial skill. Instead, he refined more than 90 sets of golden silk soft armor and more than 30 silver lights gun. I have studied the 3 types of military construction plans you mentioned. If this continues, the Hua family will earn more than 100,000 yuan per year for soldiers' salaries alone. Coupled with weapons and equipment and daily expenses, they will need at least a year. Only 200,000 gold will work. Hua Zichen told Hua Kai about the secret realm discussion in family secret realm space last night. He was most anxious when he heard the expansion of the family's army. The military reform discussed by the Hua family this time was supported by Hua Kai. At the beginning, everyone in the Qingqi team was very happy to hear the new plan. The most elite troops of the family, they are bound to become a banner of the Hua family. Tell me about the results of your discussions. When I return to Jialiu City in October, the Wahia Qingqi Regiment and the Leopard Jade Defenders Regiment must be set up. If any problems are raised early, we will try our best to solve them. As for the money, don't think about the problem first, Hua Kai said. At this time Hua Peng got up with a stack of papers. He is now one of the core members of the Qingqi Regiment, and his brain is more active. Hua Zichen left many things to him. Patriarch, Several captains of our light cavalry team discussed for a night, and felt that if we want to be stable in Jialiu County, it is best to divide all the regiments into elite, standing, and defensive regiments. The Wahia Qing Cavalry Regiment belongs to the most important elite regiment. Belongs to the first category. The Takayagi Defensive Army and the Leopard Jade Defensive Army belong to the regional garrison, and the newly built corps as the standing corps belong to the second category. The third category is the militias requested by the Patriarch. We will train all young men for at least 30 days a year, so that they can wear armor at any time to go to the battlefield. Hua Peng's voice was loud and everyone listened quietly. The Wahia Qingqi Regiment plans to expand to 3,000 people, with a total of 3 brigade members, and all members are above the lowest aerodynamic strength. The brigade has 10 squadrons, and each squadron is under 10 squadrons. We now have approximately 2,000 light cavalry reserve teams. People, but many of them are still in the Kaiyuan realm, and equestrianism is still not good. Hua Peng looked at Hua Kai and said, Wahia Qingqi is the most outward place for all young people in Wahia. In order to satisfy the supplement of the Qingqi team, the family has slowly formed a reserve team, but this reserve team is relatively loosely organized. Everyone will practice on their own. Only when the riding skills meet the requirements will Hua Zichen personally earn it. A lot of people in our reserve team are under the age of 20. I didn't let them enter the cavalry team as soon as possible. If they are taken in this time, the light cavalry regiment may expand to about 1,600 people. Hua Zichen said at this time. How can you see the rainbow without experiencing wind and rain? Every member of the Chinese family has the obligation to protect the family. The light cavalry regiment reserve team will continue to engage, and a large amount of resources can be poured into it. Good, Hua Kai replied. Everyone also saw Hua Kai's determination to expand its army. They moved from Guangxian County to Jialiu County. The opponents they had to face had changed. The Hua family had to make changes to survive here for a long time. You can choose any family members below the second class of the Hua family. Now you can spread the news about the conscription, and enter the Hua family light cavalry regiment with a minimum salary of 10 a year. The methods of meritorious service and compensation will also come up with a plan. In the future, the military expenses of the Wahia Light Cavalry Regiment and the Standing Army will all be taken directly from me. Yu Jun, you can make a budget for the military expenses of the Leopard Yuguan, and the fourth uncle, prepare the military budget for the Defense Army of Jialiu City, and summarize it to the Wafu steward. Hua Kai said. Hua Kai has legionized all the family combat forces, which is only done by the 7 first-rank families in the Central Plains. The Elite Legion requires the minimum aerodynamic state, and the Ordinary Legion requires the minimum Kaiyuan state. This standard does not even dare to do the Qin state, the largest in the Central Plains. Hua Kai's confidence is the tens of thousands of slaves with B or higher qualifications he has brought back from the grassland for so many years. Now they are basically above the Kaiyuan realm. There are 3,000 elite Qingqi people. According to Hua Kai's plan, each person will wear golden silk soft armor, which requires more than 200,000 family luck points. According to the daily increase rate of 3 to 400 family luck points, it will take about 2 years. More time. Both the Leopard Jade Defense Regiment and the Takaliu Defense Regiment are planned for the construction of 1,000 people, plus a 1,000-person reserve team. The reserve team only needs to participate in training and defense work for 15 days a month, and these people can be selected from affiliated families. The standing army is 5,000. This is a figure that Hua Kai has carefully considered. The main role of the standing army is to patrol the border and support the local garrison. If the area of Takaliu County is too large, their tasks will be the heaviest. Hua Kai also wants to wait for the garrison to be completed and cleaned up. The wolves and other wild beasts throughout Takayanagi County. Everyone expressed their opinions, and soon the Hua family military reorganization plan was finalized. First let Wushu do everything. After Hua Kai led the family back to Jialiu County, he would write training methods for the family and give the family members the strength of ascension. After the meeting, Hua Kai rode on Lu Horse and left Baoyuguan. Leopard Yuguan is located in the west of Jialiu City. Hua Kai intends to return to Guangxian quickly and needs to go all the way south. It only takes more than a day to rush back in the footsteps of Lu. As long as he goes back, the new family in Guangxian, only by paying attention to the Hua family can the Hua family complete the 2,000-mile migration road more safely and smoothly. Mile migration road more safely and smoothly. Mile migration road more safely and smoothly.